And welcome to the Computer Game Show. We're back again. My name is David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
Sean Bell in the house.
Is it me you're looking for?
James Farley is also in the house.
You right?
We're all here, aren't we? Look, what a great time to be alive.
I was here after Sean. I was actually singing Adele, not Lana Ritchie, but...
okay,
cool.
I'm sorry. We'll get it next time.
You didn't make that clear enough, Matt. You haven't got the vocal cords.
What, for
to sort
Adele
of pull
I have?
off Adele. What?
For Adele I don't have. I couldn't quite, pull off Lionel unless he asked nicely.
Joke about wanking. So I sent a text out this morning to Sean saying, "Oh my God, nothing's happened again in gaming. Nothing has happened." And then the moment I did that, we found out that there was a bunch of leaks about the NX. How legitimate is this, Sean? Have you done any research?
Well, this is just some lad off fucking NeoGAF, right? But he's at the inside line on, I think it was EA and Ubisoft's press conferences. He was like, literally, as conferences started, he was like, "Here's the running order," and they were bang on.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Make of that what you will.
Okay, so why don't we then just take the stance that this is all legitimate?
Okay.
So if this doesn't come true, sorry, this is all rumours, and but it is from a source that has...
It's got the Sean Bell seal of approval.
He's got the Sean Bell seal of approval.
Don't put my name on it.
Sean Bell has given him the fun. He's basically a friend of Sean's. So
this
whose dad
certainly
works at
sounds
Nintendo.
Better. This certainly sounds better than Farley's cartridge rumours from a few weeks ago.
That's going to happen. That's definitely going to happen. You'll see. There's been more rumours about that. It's going to happen.
James's rumours in the Google Doc are always insane. I've heard it's going to be made of water. We should discuss that. But it's clearly not true.
As soon as there's some rumour of like an actual slightly credible source, James is nowhere near it. It's all about Sean's got the credible stuff.
All right, Matt,
like, well,
do you want to do a bet over the physical media thing? Because I'm certain I'm right about
we'll come
this.
on to that. What? It's going to have a cartridge?
Yeah, that it's going to be like cards, not DVDs or whatever.
Well, I can see that. Well, same as a 3DS, basically, like little. Yeah.
No, wait, slow down. We've got to all calm down here, right? Is anyone going to take James up on that bet? That it's going to be CDs rather than cartridges?
No, it's going to be cards, not CDs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the other side. Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the other side. The person actually going into the bet with them.
Yeah.
No, is no one actually going to do that?
I think I agree with Farley.
See, because I think Matt is well tempted.
I am tempted.
Matt, take the bet. This could be the first bet of the podcast. This could be the big one.
So I would basically be thinking, yes, the new Nintendo console would have a CD tray, as opposed to games going on cartridges.
We need to define. We need to get this down, don't we? So,
all right. I'd say it's not going to have optical media. There you go.
Okay, I'll take you up on that bet.
There we go. Well, what's the bet for though?
Well, it'd be just an iOS game of Farley's choosing less than £3.49.
Okay.
Less than £3.49. That's gone
Easy.
up. Do you remember it used to be 59p?
Well, yeah. Back in there.
What's happened, eh? Oh yeah, the pound was crashed.
It used to be 49p, and then I did one with like Andy Hamilton from Midnight Resistance, and he got me with like £2 something. So after that, I thought I better enforce some sort of limit.
So what happened? What happened? You lost a bet to Andy Hamilton?
Yeah, well, it's something about where Newcastle or Palace would finish in the Premier League a few seasons ago, and I had to buy him an iOS game. I've never won one of these bets, actually.
Yeah.
You had to pay out to me before as well, I remember.
Yeah, I think all of you. Apart from Sean, have I bought you an iOS game before? Oh, no, clearly not.
Well, I mean, you can, but I've had nothing to play it on.
Yeah, I'll probably have it in some way.
I think Matt's going to win this. I think there's definitely... I mean... It's got to be, right? There's no way they're going to dish cards out over CDs if it's a home console.
I just think they might just also have it as like a Ultra HD Blu-ray player thing. Because why not?
Because Nintendo. Well,
That's as good a reason as any in it, really.
Right, let's go
Okay,
on to his rumours. These actual legit
Right.
Sean Bell rumours, not James's.
Sean, let's
canoeing
hear
and
it.
paper.
100%
let's hear what you're putting your name to.
legit rumours. Right, here's the disclaimer. This is all like a bit too good to be true, but
It fucking is, isn't it? Because when what I read, I was like, I'm praying that this is true. Nintendo are back.
But that's the thing, though. It's like it would sort of explain their absolute seeming fucking incompetence over the last 2 years. Or
Why
whatever.
would it explain?
Well, just because it would sort of this sort of implies that actually basically that they gave up on the Wii U a lot longer ago than we realise, and actually they've been like redoubling all their efforts into this instead.
Yeah.
That's how I'm reading it. But
Okay, let me crack a beer. Let's get to it.
nice. Boring
And I'm
stuff
ready.
out of the way first. It's got a custom AMD APU. Which has a x6 CPU. It's got custom RX 400 series GPU, and then
Why are you
just
doing an impression of Farley during this?
I don't know. I was
Where's
just
Farley's
doing
voice come from?
generic nerd voice, and then it just says
I do have a
there's-
generic nerd voice.
it
There
says
is some crossover there, isn't there?
14 NM. I don't know what that means.
14 nanometer.
14 nanomachines inside it.
14 Nintendo.
I thought you were a nerd, Sean.
Magazines.
Come on. Nanometer. This
Power
is
range,
basics.
power range above PS4 and below rumored Neo specs. Is Neo what everyone
It's
thought?
their
it-
updated one, isn't it?
Right,
It's supposed to be
okay.
coming out at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, PS4K.
Ah, right. Yeah, of course. No idea on which it's close to. Normal style controller.
See, I can believe that
Yeah.
because
Can ya?
especially after there was those rumours that apparently the the new Zelda, it doesn't like make use of the gamepad at all. Like really,
Well, yeah. I mean, this was interesting because when I was watching that Zelda footage, like in the first sort of 10 minutes, he gets a little magic iPad. I was like, right, well, that's
Yeah.
it. Like the NX has a touchscreen. But then everyone said, no, if you carry on watching, it doesn't really
Never use
do
it.
anything. Yeah.
What's crazy though is when was the last time that Nintendo brought out a console with what could be described like led with a standard controller?
Well, yeah, because even the GameCube one was a bit fucking weird.
Nope. GameCube was mental.
Yeah.
N64 was mental.
Yeah.
I suppose the only one standard at the time was the SNES, right?
SNES. Yeah. I mean, I suppose, but then the SNES one was odd at the time. Like, we'd never... Actually, no, that's bollocks, isn't it? Other than the shoulder buttons, it was pretty...
I wouldn't say the GameCube one was that mental. It was a nice controller.
It
no,
was
it was
a beautiful
lovely.
controller. I loved it, but it had a C stick and a massive, great big A button and springs for the shoulder buttons. Do you know what I mean? Which were excellent. Don't get me wrong; it was such a good pad, but you couldn't really call it like the standard controller. Obviously, they've got the Pro controller, which shows that they're open to the idea of producing pads that are like every other pad out there. But to lead with something like that would be a big change for Nintendo, I think.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, remember seeing the N64 pad for the first time? Everyone was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And then, the GameCube pad was a little bit more like the norm, but it was still fucking odd when you think about it. And then obviously you had the Wii and the Wii U. So if they go back to standard pads, that's going to show a real change in direction for them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it does then go on to say maybe an optional screen controller, but it just say no gimmicks, i.e. scroll wheels, haptic feedback, or freeform display. So, I mean,
That makes sense.
if it's
'cause it keep the
optional, I
price
don't
down.
really... I mean, the Wii U screen doesn't get enough love as it is from developers, never mind if it was, like, fully optional, so...
No, but as I texted this stuff to Denton as well earlier today, and he just said, I don't know how interested I'll be in a new Nintendo machine without that little screen in the pad. And I can see his point, because when you've got kids about, it's fucking handy.
It is. It's brilliant. It's the best thing about the machine.
Yeah. It then says Vulkan API, easy to use toolset, easy to port and develop for. I mean, fine, whatever. It says it can handle any game that runs on Xbox One and PS4, which is interesting because if it just means people can fucking port everything easily.
Well, that's it,
That's
isn't
the
it?
thing.
I mean, if they get third-party developers on side again with a console that can run games as well as they do on the N64, obviously the only thing
Wait, what? The
missing...
N64?
So the Xbox and the PlayStation. I'm very tired. I went out last night, and I should never have done that. Forget how old I am these days.
I was going to say, you're past it, mate. You need to...
Yeah, well, but properly not up for that anymore. But yeah, no, if it can run games as well as the PS4 and the Xbox One, then that's exciting, because that kind of, like, if I had a console like that, then I could drop either the PS4 or the Xbox One. The only thing missing is how well they implement the online stuff.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if that's
crucial.
shit, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, because if that stuff's bad, then, Titanfall 2 is coming to the NX. I don't care if it's...
Make sure you start writing down your 12-digit codes now.
Okay, brand new experience stroke gimmick isn't controller related, which suggests that there is a gimmick. It's just it's not the controller.
Well, there's got to be a gimmick. It wouldn't be a Nintendo console without one.
Well,
but if it's not the controller, then what is it?
I mean, the other rumours that were flying around that aren't on this was that it was all like Android based, and it was a whole like to basically sort of behave not unlike a phone. But I don't know.
I mean, Nintendo would be mad to do that, wouldn't they? Isn't it Android just like extremely hackable and full of piracy?
Yeah. So.
Maybe they're not bothered about that, because they're just thinking...
they just don't care anymore.
Yeah, just loads of... I mean, the Wii was like really hackable as well, but, did really well.
Well, have you seen... I was going to say, have you seen that... Well, yeah, the DS was terrible for that. And then have you seen what some people have done with modded 3DSs? And that basically you can... Someone's made like a hacked eShop that you can just go on and download anything, but it's accessing the information from the actual eShop, but except it just bypasses the bit where it actually charges you money, and it's like and the interface looks really bare bones, but it's way quicker than the actual eShop, and you can just switch regions as well.
It's like someone just cracking open a fire exit at the back of a store.
Yeah.
And just walk out there instead of out the front and through past the tills. Yeah. Just walk straight out.
Exactly.
It's fine. Jesus.
So, just as Western devs already have dev kits, which you would hope so, given that it's out in less than a year. Most of the first-year third-party support will be from Japan only. It's a bit weird.
That's great, isn't it? That sounds great.
Those two things don't really line up then, do they?
Well, no.
Is that no FIFA? No.
Come on, it's not going to be FIFA anyway.
No, it's going to take a while for EA to get back on board.
If it wants to be big again.
Yeah, but no, EA will be one of the last developers that jump on this. They'll wait until it's properly sold some numbers before they try and get involved. Yeah. No doubt. I think they got stung by the end of the Wii. I think they were a little bit stung, so that was that.
There is a handheld component, but it is separate, so I don't know how that's going to work.
So maybe that's going to be like the VMU. That'd be kind of brilliant.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, I miss VMUs. I mean, I've said for a while I'd be all right with a console where like the controller just was a separate handheld, but I understand that that's kind of ridiculous. If you want to play local multiplayer stuff, you go, well, you need to pay 150 quid for a separate console, effectively. So I don't know. Right.
What if, so what if the thing was, I mean, if you're going from these rumours, if you're taking it like as if they're real, what if the thing was that it comes with a normal controller, but you can buy a controller separately?
Yeah.
That has that second screen. So that covers the idea of optional second screen, and it also covers the idea that it can be portable as well.
Say they did also release a new handheld, and that also just functions seamlessly as a controller or sort of Wii U style,
so for example,
you could stream console stuff.
If it was last generation, you'd buy the Wii U as it is, but then you could buy a 3DS that would play all the Wii U games and also work as a controller on your Wii U.
Yeah. But you could also just buy a controller that is just a controller.
That's right, just standard controller.
See, that would be brilliant. I'd be really up for that.
Yeah, but if it's not packed in, do you think devs are really going to bother coding adding a second screen functionality? Didn't you say even last week that there was a game that didn't have a second screen?
They don't have to, though. This would be just like a portable. You can use it as a portable instead.
Yeah, so the second screen stuff would literally just be for mirroring gameplay.
Yeah.
And then when they take it away, they can play that gameplay on the go.
Right,
I don't know how that will work. The only thing that I don't understand is how that will work with sort of licensing issues and ownership of games and stuff like that. Because I mean, it makes sense if it's download only, and it would make sense. But if it's CD or cartridge, how does that work? Would the games not go in the box? They'd go in the pad itself, or
That's
what?
why-
How would that work?
That's why James's rumour seems like it could be legit. If you could just like put a cartridge from one little thing to the other.
Yeah, that makes more sense, especially for a handheld. Using cartridges, they're not going to use like Blu-rays or whatever, are they? It's
No.
I mean, it would be cool because obviously, I mean, this gen, you've got Sony are quite good at, buy it once and you own it on all available formats. Like if the game is on the PS3 and PS4 and the Vita, buy it once, you own it on all three of them, which is pretty good. Xbox obviously are now doing this whole Play Anywhere thing. So maybe Nintendo are catching on, and maybe it's just like, you buy the game and then you own it on whatever it can play on. That would be nice.
The only problem with that, Sean, is that Nintendo are also pretty good at getting us to buy the same game again.
Well, there is that.
Like many, 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 many times over. So maybe they've caught on. Who knows? Right, games. Zelda, obviously. Luigi's Mansion 3.
Well, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I never... Luigi's Mansion 2, I don't like that as much as everyone else.
Nor do I.
Yeah.
We mentioned this at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't get what people loved about it. I found it really frustrating.
Like, people fucking love that game.
I know. I loved the first one. I really, really loved the first one on the GameCube, and I just did not get the same from the second one at all.
Yeah.
It feels like I missed something, or I was playing a different game.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand the hype. So, really disappointed with that.
Raiders of the Broken Planet.
Classic.
So, I don't know what that is. Probably a documentary about Brexit. Now this one's interesting. Final Fantasy VI Remake, (timed exclusive).
Why is that interesting? That is literally not... that's the opposite of interesting.
You don't
Gives
play
a
Final
fuck?
Fantasy VI. It's proper good, man.
No, of course I haven't. Jesus.
No, it's interesting because obviously we're getting this Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is the one everyone's been crying out for. But it's this proper weird sort of... It's not really the full game, it's just bits of it, and it's all episodic, and the combat system's completely different. And so I don't know what the plan would be for a 6 remake if this is real, which it definitely is, obviously. I don't know if they'd be looking at like a total rejigging of it or what.
Isn't this one supposed to be better as well? It's supposed to be one of the best ones, isn't it?
Yeah, 6 is one of the all-time faves. Right, this sort of goes back into not game stuff. Reveal planned for late September or early October. Not set yet, apparently. Expanded on...
That's the one thing... We'll get to this, but that's the one thing that makes me really feel that this isn't legit.
Do you reckon?
Really?
Yeah.
Why? I think we mentioned this on the E3 shows that they've got to announce it this year to get people psyched pre-Christmas, so maybe you don't buy that PS4.
Yeah, you need that Christmas upset.
That's not what I mean. What I mean is, how would he know so much when it's still so far from being announced properly? You know what I mean? If this was being announced next week and it got wind of it early, then I'd think there was more credibility to it.
Yeah.
But he's saying, what, two or 3 months away? They haven't even decided when to announce it, yet he knows all this information.
Yeah, so you mean
late
like you
September,
think
October. That could have been like, can they book? No, but maybe it could be like a physical keynote, so like an Apple one, have they book the venue. I mean, the late September, early October is like a space of 2 weeks. Like, there's many reasons why they might not have settled on a date for the
Do you think they're actually going to present this live on stage? I don't.
Nah, they'll do another digital event.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's one of the nice things from Nintendo's point of view about the way they announce this stuff now is they just shoot a film and then they put it up when they feel like it, because they don't even. I mean, with Nintendo Directs and stuff, they don't even announce them like well ahead of time, do they? They're just like, oh yeah, there's going to be one in like 3 days. So yeah, I guess
That's what'll happen.
Yeah, I reckon they could just do it whenever. Right, what else have we got? Expanded or new virtual console with GameCube library. Again,
Okay.
feels
this
very
might be
sort of
suspicious.
Yeah, it's very sort of, well, obviously everyone wants that, so if you were making up a list, that's something you would put in.
But also there's that, and then it's got the whole thing about trying to get like backwards compatibility kind of thing,
Yeah.
which it doesn't really match, does it? If it's like, because the GameCube, it's the same architecture as like Wii U stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it then says trying to get Wii U virtual console purchases to transfer to NX. I mean, again, that shouldn't be difficult. But like you say, a lot of, like on the Wii U, you can play Wii stuff because it has that whole Wii mode,
Yeah,
which is presumably a lot of work, and as you get further away from that architecture, it's going to be a pain. So maybe that's why it says trying to get Wii U virtual console purchases to transfer, because actually it's a pain in the arse. But then, are they going to charge you money for it again?
Oh, I'm sure they will.
You know, like when we made that up, and that was when Dave realised we were talking shit.
Yeah.
It's a good one, though. It's a good one.
Yeah. This one's vague, but I'll take it. Big budget 3D Mario.
Hey!
It needs to happen,
That's
really.
all-
It's
that's
been
all it
so
needs.
long.
Well, it'd be daft not to.
It's been so long. You know what I mean? Since Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
Many a year has passed, and honestly, I still can't believe there wasn't one for the Wii U. It's mad.
I mean, we got 3D World, but that was brilliant.
Incredible.
But it was just a little. It was like a series of little experiments. It was at no point was it like, oh my god, I am exploring a fucking world. This is amazing. Like it was just there were levels of a game, not just going for a wander in fucking Mario Land. You know.
Yeah, you couldn't get lost in a world, could you, in that? Like you could in, say, Mario 64 and that. It's just, such a shame because that game still gives me the feels. Right, come on then. Let's go around the room. How legit do you think this is, Sean?
I think inevitably bits of it are going to end up being true. Like even if this list is purely made up, obviously bits of it are going to be true just because there's so much stuff in there. It's just, fucking scattergun approach. I am skeptical though. But, if like a quarter of it's true, then fine.
How about you, James?
Yeah, I agree with Sean. It's there's enough here that's like really obviously true. Like Zelda and stuff like that's definitely happening. That kind of stuff. But yeah, mostly I don't know, rusty bollocks.
James, Matt, you've been quiet. What's up?
Yeah, well, I'm listening to you guys. I don't want to butt in.
He's bored, is what he's saying.
It's boring as shit, mate. And then following on from that, I mean, something else that was picked up by N Styles. I'm not sure if it's it's a Japanese Nintendo website, but they had a quote from Miyamoto who said, "Normally we would have shown the NX at E3, but we didn't. We're too worried about imitators if we release info too early." Now,
They say that every time.
I was going to say,
that.
I'm fairly sure I have heard that in before, but if I think about that quote and I think about this list here, I can't really see anything that would suddenly make Sony or Microsoft want to go out and change things. I guess maybe it is this experience/gimmick.
That's true, yeah. No, Sony and Microsoft wouldn't look at that and be like, "Oh no, fuck! What we've missed out on doing this thing."
I can't believe we haven't got a console that's as powerful as the PS4, but not powerful as the PS4.
We haven't got a big budget 3D Mario, guys. We need to
A normal controller, no. Yeah, so I mean, there was also rumours previously about Nintendo looking into VR. I guess that's an easy thing to write to get clicks. Really, I mean, whatever.
I just really can't see that happening at all. But, anyway.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, as everyone else has said, it's like a great list of things that we'd all want and stuff that you can put in because it's so early. I mean, I really think that they've got to sort of announce it this year if it is coming out in March, which I also don't think is going to happen. I think it'll be delayed. I don't think it'll be out in March, unless, of course, they are. I think I said this previously, but maybe they are really, really far ahead. But
what makes you think it's not going to come out in March? What?
I don't know, because it feels too soon. They haven't shown anything. Maybe there's probably a million things happening behind the scenes that obviously we're not privy to, and NDAs and whatnot have been signed. But I don't know. It just feels like it's coming relatively soon. Was that 6 months? No, 9 months
Yeah,
or
but
so.
it doesn't, like, I don't think they need to have a big build up to this. If they come out swinging and show some cracking games, then the hype's going to be unreal. And the longer that waits,
But no, do you think they've got to announce something before Christmas?
do I think they've got to? I think it would be the best thing for them. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they should. Do I think they've got to? Probably not.
because obviously March, it's not far after Christmas. It's 3 months. If I don't say something before Christmas, people are going to get a load of PS4s, a load of Xboxes for Christmas, or they're going to buy them.
People are going to do that regardless.
I mean, yeah, they've got nothing to lose.
But if they announce it before and it's like, I know they do like a conference thing, in October, November, and it looks amazing, I would hold off buying an Xbox or PS4s to see what this new Nintendo console's about. But if they don't say anything, and you think, well, I think it's probably March, I guess we'll hope, I think I'd probably just go out and buy a PS4 if I had the money. Obviously, Christmas, and again, if you're a young kid and you haven't got a lot of money, you could say, don't give me like a major Christmas present. We'll save the money towards NX in March if it's legitimately coming out then. But I don't know. I don't know,
man. I think if it's good enough, people will buy it regardless.
I think they've got nothing to lose by announcing something, because it's not like they're going to cannibalise sales of the Wii U, is it? Like at Christmas.
True.
So
all those hot Wii U sales are going to be missing out.
Yeah.
I think it's the right thing to do, because, as you say, I think it would be better for marketing and sort of trying to take as much out of their competition as possible. I don't think it's essential. I think what's essential is that they show it the correct way this time. The way they showed the Wii U to us for the first time was fucking diabolical. Like, it was so bad.
Yeah.
Might have even been worse than the Xbox One, because when they showed the Xbox One
it's
for the
definitely
first
worse
time,
than that, I think.
Yeah, because when they showed at least the message was clear. All right, we hated the message, but at least the message was clear. With the Wii U, it was just like, we didn't even know if it was a console.
No.
Do you remember?
Like, we didn't know until people like zooming in or looking at the images and saying, "Hang on, the box is different over there." Like, they didn't even mention that.
It was Nintendo afterwards, wasn't it? Like, there was articles coming out saying Nintendo confirmed, they are actually releasing a new console after an announcement for a new console. That's insane. Like, the name was shit. The way they showed it, like the benefits of it were crap. Like, they didn't show off what it could actually do. They didn't show off too many games, did they? They showed Wii Sports, and that's why everyone was going, "Oh, is this Wii again?" I do not get it. What a weird launch that was.
Right. Okay. So Nintendo's new experience not being control related. What other things could it be? So it's not how you control a game. Like, do we think it could be? It could be a headset.
Matt. Illumi Room.
Illumi Room. But I mean,
it's finally
it could be a VR headset because that's more how you experience it rather than how you control it. I mean,
it's not going to be a headset.
Well, no. I'm trying to narrow down all the things it could be. So it's not a controller. It could be a headset because that's how you view the game.
I think the gimmick, if you want to call it that, will be the fact that it can be taken anywhere. That you can buy a separate controller and it works like a Wii U, but also works like a 3DS. I think that's going to be its thing.
Yeah,
that's going to be its selling point, and I think that'll be enough, because that way we'll be happy because it's back to just basic console gaming for Nintendo, but also it's got this really cool thing if you want to do it a different way.
So you know what I mean? Still got that. Like, they seem to really be pushing this whole, is it My Nintendo, the new online portal thing, and that seems to be like this. They seem to be really keen on pushing that as this new unified portal. And at the moment it doesn't actually do a lot. They just keep telling you need to fucking sign up for it. So I'm assuming that's going to play a large part in whatever's happening next.
Right. Okay. I've got another question. Do you think that they will announce when they have a Nintendo Direct to announce this? Do you think, okay, well, it may not at the same time, but do you also think that they will announce and maybe sell a new handheld on the same day that will attach to it?
Yes. So
if you
absolutely.
Want to be, if you're Sean or James, if you're any Nintendo fan, you are basically have to buy a new console and probably this new handheld.
Because I don't think it's going to be essential.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be essential to do that. I think what they're saying is we're going to release two products here. the handheld can play everything that the home console can play. So if you just want the handheld, you can just buy the handheld. However, if you just want the home console, you can just buy that. But if you end up buying both in the end, then you can play it both ways. Do you know what I mean?
Oh fuck! I think
it makes
I'll have
sense
to
to
buy
me.
both. Just
Why?
Man. Just because you feel like you'll because if there is an amazing game out for it, I want to be able to take it with me, on the road or on a commute.
I'm not saying there's not a market, right? I'm not saying there's not a market.
It is a big
for this.
ask.
But you personally, how often do you play games out in public now?
Well, I just play on my phone. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't commute to work, although.
No, but you've got like a Vita, haven't you? And
yeah.
How often do you play that?
If I ever travel anywhere, like a train, to London or something, I always have it in my bag.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of feel past it for gaming on the train and stuff now. It's weird. I just don't do it anymore. It's not
I think
something
with
I
Vita,
instinctively do.
Well, I've had it for a fair while, but because of all the PS Plus stuff, there's always something I can download, which I've bought, and I can always bang something on, and I love that about it. And yeah, it's got everywhere's golf.
So I'm still playing those 3DS Street Pass games, which is pathetic, but I'm
they're
still
proper
playing
good
them.
though.
Yeah. They are good. I'm still playing them.
Okay, maybe it's just me then.
The other thing that's really weird about this is that, if you look at this list here of all these things this has got, this looks like a really conventional console. It looks really just like PS4 or Xbox One. Does that mean that Nintendo's whole marketing thing is going to change from? Because before they had that whole we're not doing the same as everyone else, we're different and everything. But this kind of shows that they are the same as everyone else.
Yeah, are they going to go back to competing on the same level as Sony or Microsoft?
And is that a good idea?
I think it's a good idea, yeah. I think there's a lot of money in it, and I think there's a room. I think Nintendo's universe of games and characters, I think that's such a huge string in their bow. And if they can get all the third-party stuff on board, plus that stuff, how can you recommend anything else? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The PS4 is a great console, and the Xbox One, it's all right. But when you look at their exclusives, they've got some good games. There is no doubt about that. But nothing that would be able to compete with, Mario, Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, F-Zero, Zelda, stuff. There's nothing on those consoles that could compete with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anyone says.
Knack
Not
2?
on such a regular basis. You might get a game like Bloodborne come out and you'll be like, wow, this is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Or Inside, and we'll get to that. And you think, wow, this is incredible. This is a great exclusive. But if Nintendo can knock out 2 from their universe every year, that'll smash all the competition, surely. And if the third party stuff plays as well on that machine and the online stuff all works, then they're going to be a real contender. They could take over that space again. Whether it's too late now, whether they're starting way too far behind Sony at this point is yet to be seen, obviously. But
it's interesting.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, we've talked about how Microsoft has said the generation model is done, and now it's interesting because Nintendo have sort of been sort of doing, they're like half a step out from the others, and they have been for a while now.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not going to matter so much anymore. All right, so there's a new Nintendo console, and it's a bit better than the Xbox One and PS4. But then it was but then in 5 years there'll be a PS5 and an Xbox 2, whatever, and they'll be loads better. Whereas now it's well, no, because they're just sort of doing these incremental upgrades now. So what does that make any difference? I don't know.
It probably plays into their hands a little bit, because
Really?
We're going to be used to certain consoles being a little bit behind whatever the latest console is. You know what I mean? So Sony's console will be a little bit behind Microsoft's, or next year Microsoft's Xbox S will be behind what the Neo eventually comes out to be, and stuff like that. So it won't be here's the standard and Nintendo are slightly below that, because it's a little bit more scattered.
Yeah.
It'll be a little bit different. But
I sort of think it's the other way around. I actually think Yeah, so it's slightly above PS4, below Neo, but they'll release Neo, and then because of this new approach that Microsoft and Sony appear to be making, in 2 years they'll be even more behind, and in 4 years even more behind, and Nintendo are not agile enough.
Nintendo aren't going to do the same thing?
I just don't think they're agile enough as a business. I mean, they're just, if you look at this list, I mean, there's all these things where they're sort of just now doing things that the current other consoles are doing. I can't see them suddenly changing their business model in a way that they're releasing new consoles every.
But why not?
2 years.
They kind of fucking have to.
I believe it. It feels like it's probably the right way to go. That's what the others are doing, but that's not a Nintendo thing, really. I don't know.
What's it? Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Maybe it's time for them to say, all that stuff that people say this isn't a Nintendo thing to do. Maybe we should fucking relook at that because Jesus Christ.
I totally agree.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, this is all obviously based on absolute nothing, a forum post or whatever. It's only been legitimised because the guy leaked some stuff before.
And because Sean read it, not James.
And because Sean...
Sean Bell, seal of approval, yeah. So.
Yeah. So yeah, let's move on because I can't deal with this.
I've got one more thought. If I do...
Oh, here we go. Come on, let's hear Matt Murray's thoughts of the week.
Right, will there be an F-Zero game on this new console within the first 12 months?
A fucking better ad.
Let's word.
No, you say no, James?
I'm saying no. Yeah.
You see, the thing is, a second bet might come around.
See, the thing is, right, is I'm saying this from a position of love because I really, really love Nintendo, but I still am very pessimistic about what this is going to be. We'll see.
All right, okay. So is that a second app bet? Are you willing to put?
Absolutely. I'd absolutely bet that there's not going to be one of those.
Define the parameters. So what? 12 months? What? It needs to be released or announced?
All right. There won't be an F-Zero game
announced
a year. Yeah. Announced.
No. See, that to me says it should be released within a year of the console.
Yeah.
It might be delayed.
Oh, that's fair. No, is it? Fuck yeah. What if it's delayed?
Yeah, I think they've got to announced. But if James doesn't believe it, that's fine. I mean,
all right, I'm going to put my neck out. I would say they're not even going to announce one.
Right. Wow. So right. So this is from what? It's from March 2017 from launch.
Yeah.
So if I don't announce
your laptops and mobiles out. Don't hit the skip button, you fucking prick. All right. Oh, look at the odds now.
Are you okay?
Real Winston. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. It just sounds like we should be. Look, when the fun stops, stop. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Gamble responsibly.
Okay.
Please.
So if there is one announced before March 2018, then I owe Farley an iOS game.
You owe me another iOS game. Yeah.
Well, hold on. You haven't got the first one yet.
Yeah.
Pretty confident.
Okay.
Yeah.
March
so we've got to wait.
Better do. Fucking hell.
Mate, I'd love it if they turn around and said, we are using Blu-ray discs and we're launching with F-Zero. And then at the end, it's just like Mario walks on screen and goes, pay up, James.
Yeah. That's fine, James. You might as well give him a £20 voucher for iTunes.
And then the slow motion chucks his Mario cap and it lands on the lens of the camera. And then that's the end of the
It lands on the VR headset.
Right, okay, what we've been playing. Well, I don't know how to do this really. Should we get Sean out of the way or should we just do our bit? We're going to do this thing a little bit differently this week. We're going to discuss a game twice. First of all, during the show, we're going to talk about Inside because that's what three of us have played. And then after the end credits, we're going to do a complete spoiler cast. I mean, going into everything about the game. Do not listen after the end music if you've not completed Inside, because not only are we going to talk about it in terms of spoilers, but we're also not going to explain things. We're just going to talk about it as if everyone listening has played and finished Inside. So should we just do the spoiler-free chat first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to. I mean, obviously everyone keeps saying, "Oh, the less you know about it, the better." Which is obviously quite frustrating.
That's a wanky thing to say, right? But that's what got me interested in the first place. Yeah. I love games like that. And it's totally understandable as well. Mainly because, I mean, you know the basic. I assume that you've seen the trailers, right?
Well, I mean, I saw the E3 bit, but
Yeah,
obviously it didn't
so-
tell you a lot, did it?
No,
Which is
no.
fine.
So inside, in fact, actually, I went back and looked at the 2014 trailer that it showed. Showed a little bit too much for my liking.
Really?
On that, I was quite surprised. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in there that I was blown away with when I experienced it. So I'm kind of glad I didn't see it. So inside is the new side-scrolling platform puzzler from Playdead, who made Limbo, which was a game that seemed to have split opinion more than I remembered it doing when it first came out. You played Limbo, right, James? I'm pretty sure we spoke about this.
I did, yeah, and I thought it was great. I really
It's
liked
incredible, isn't it? A fantastic game. Like, it was Sean last week that said that you didn't quite get on with it as much as. Hi, James. No, but you, I mean, you didn't like it as much as.
Not as much, no.
Has that kind of put you off trying this new one?
Well, no, just as I think I said last time, friends who also didn't think Limbo was incredible are like, no, this is. So, fine.
Yeah, I think if your main problem was with, I guess, the themes and art style, then maybe you still will not like this new game, because it's very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, you start off, you're a young boy in woods and going from left to right on the screen.
Right.
Everything's very dark and silhouette-y and stuff like that. And that's exactly what Limbo was at that stage of the game. I mean, it invokes the same sort of stuff, but everything Limbo did, this takes and does it better. And that's not a criticism of Limbo, because Limbo was very revolutionary when it first came out. It was very different to anything I'd played at that time. But this is a game that has been worked on for, what was it, 4 or 6 years? It was a lot of years. I think it was 6. I think Limbo come out in 2010. So
Yeah.
So this has been worked, and you can tell that. I mean, it's been refined beyond belief, and a lot of the stuff that you were talking about Limbo being pretentious. I don't think it's dropped that.
Okay.
But in the same breath, I don't think it needed to.
Yeah.
I didn't find it pretentious at all. I think this has that same feeling. I guess. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't feel those feelings, so I can't really tell if it's got the same thing.
Just to be clear, when I say pretentious, I just mean like it felt like it was aiming for things that it just wasn't doing for me.
But I don't know how James and Matt feel about that side of things, but I feel that it hits everything it aims for in this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
I totally agree.
I
Yes, I know before Limbo was pretentious, but I can see why people might say that. But this, I don't think does have the same feeling.
I mean, I often get annoyed. In fact, I talked about this on the first episode of the Recycle Bin. I hate when people use the word pretentious, because often they just use it as like a quick way of saying, I didn't understand this, and that annoys me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just in this case, I just thought it was a bit like, yeah, it's a bit creepy in that. I don't really feel like it's actually saying anything, though. But that's me.
Yeah, I think this has a lot to say, but it doesn't say it.
Okay.
And we'll obviously this is something that we'll need to we'll save until the end of the show. But this game touches on a lot of themes, but doesn't directly address them or tell you anything beyond, hey, we're touching some themes here.
Okay.
And I love it. I loved it. I tell you what happened when I finished it. I was expecting to be blown away, and I wasn't. I was baffled. I was confused, and I didn't know what to make of it. And ever since then, it's just grown in my mind. Like, it's all I've thought about for the past 3 or 4 days. And I'm definitely going to play this again. Like, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think I might play again this week.
I think I'm going to go through it. Yeah, absolutely. Just to try and go through things that I missed, to try and look in the in the background more, and stuff like that, just to see what I can pick up, because I've been trying to piece theories together all weekend, and every theory gets blown out of the water with something new that I see, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course that doesn't work because this and this and this, and I think that's the stuff that people are praising are giving so much praise towards. That's why this game's being so praised, because the puzzles and the platforming are good. In fact, they're better than good. They're extremely refined and very, very well done. But you kind of expect that from this, because Limbo had very similar stuff. And okay, you were mentioning about Limbo's insta-death stuff, and there's a little bit in this, but not that much.
I think they pretty much nailed that though, didn't they? Because that's one of the things I was going to say. Is like mechanically, it's a lot more friendly than the Limbo was.
Yeah,
like it doesn't. Yeah, there's really. I can only think about once when I died, and I thought, oh, that's annoying. The rest of the time,
opening doors.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
that's the same place for me.
Yeah. I don't know if I should have said that, but I suppose there's many doors that you open in this game, so it doesn't matter, does it? But one thing that I haven't seen praised a lot, I can't believe how well it runs, despite it being relatively stylized over, graphically intensive. But that fucking thing did not drop a frame the whole way through, and didn't look like it didn't struggle with a single thing. Like it was so smooth. I'm assuming it's 60 frames. Did you pick up on that?
No, I've no idea.
Anyone?
No, I mean,
No,
it ran really smooth, but I don't think it's doing a lot. It looks gorgeous, but I don't think it's doing too much. In all honesty, but
No, but I was
Matt, after playing Mighty Number 9, this is pretty good as far as that goes.
Okay, so I don't know where to go from here. Maybe James and Matt, you should offer your opinions before we get Sean to ask some questions.
Yeah. Go on, James.
See, I don't know, because I don't really know what to say about it without spoiling stuff. I mean, we've already said it looks amazing, but I think the thing that I like the most is just the atmosphere. The atmosphere is amazing in this game, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's helped by the sound design.
Yeah.
And the one thing that really did blow me away was the animation. I don't know if you read my review, but at the start of the game, and so this isn't a spoiler at all, but at the start of the game, you come across not a puzzle, but there's a stealth section, and usually when I don't know what it is. There's a sudden drop of his shoulders and a cautious look around a box, and you're like, this is a stealth section. Like, it didn't need to do anything. It didn't need to come up, stay out of line of sight from this character. Here is their vision cone. This is what you need to do. It was just a little drop of the shoulders from the character, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, something's up. Let's take this a little bit slower. And it does stuff like that throughout the game that communicates so much to you without the need to fill the screen with, there's no text, no button prompts, no life bars or anything like that. It's just completely clean. And as I said, not every game benefits from that. Sometimes you do need information on the screen. I'm not saying that this is the way games should be. What I'm saying is, to achieve the level of tension and atmosphere that they were going for, removing that stuff was essential. And although they've made it harder for themselves to communicate to the player, they absolutely now doing that. Like, they absolutely now doing it. Every step of the way, I knew what I needed to do. And there were a few puzzles where I got stuck, but it was, once I'd worked out what to do, it was so obvious that I can't believe that I didn't read it properly. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, shit, of course, as opposed to going, oh fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Like you do in some of these puzzle games. What did you think?
Can I talk about the death though? Am I allowed to talk about that at all?
Yeah, of course.
Because that was the thing that really affected me the most from this, is how kind of horrific death is in this. It's really unsettling. It's very, very unsettling, the way they've done it, because I mean, obviously, everything's zoomed backwards, so zoomed out, so you can't actually see. There's no detail at all. But the sound, again, it's the sound design, and also just the little flinching movements and everything. It's horrible to watch. I felt terrible every time I failed because of something. I really didn't want it to happen again, because I didn't want to see what happens to the boy happen again.
Yeah, what was special about the deaths in Limbo was that because it was literally a silhouette, they could show horrible, gruesome deaths without it being disgusting on screen. Like, you were seeing black droplets come from his neck and stuff like that. Well, this is nowhere near as gruesome with its deaths, but it's just as haunting. They've gone for sort of just a real sort of horrid, I don't know how to describe it really, but real eerie deaths where there's no blood. There's not like, tell a lie. There's a couple of moments where that did happen, but we'll talk about that later. But in the most part, it is really just sort of a lot of strangulation.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's the strangulation that was just really, really horrible. Like,
Yeah.
it's just really horrible. Especially when it's like it's this little boy, and then it's just like these people doing it. It's awful.
Did you keep projecting onto that?
I think so. Yeah, there is an
same.
element of that which makes it worse. It's yeah.
Well, it's
But
the
very, very
movement. Like, as I said, the animation is so good. The way the boy moves around on the screen is just so good. It just really, like, fuck, man. Yeah, it's mental. Matt, talk.
Yeah, I thought it was stunning. I mean, I guess everything you said, I was going to say myself. I mean, some of the puzzles were really, really clever. On a couple of occasions, I was stuck for like 10, 15 minutes. But, as you said, once you actually, get your head around it, it makes you feel stupid for not thinking about that solution quicker. And one thing you guys haven't mentioned as much, the animation's stunning, and I love the way it tells a story through the environments and through the things happening in the background. I think that's amazing. But the lighting is really, really fantastic. There are
really good, isn't
loads
it?
of really, really good parts where it looks so gorgeous, and it's absolutely dripping with atmosphere. It's one of those games. It's like those films that I love where after you've watched it, you're in a daze for like 2 hours. You can't stop thinking about it. I was out after watching Interstellar. I just remember like driving home, thinking about all the things that the film did, and this game is exactly the same. I didn't sleep. I couldn't sleep immediately because I was still like all the things whirring around in my head about what just happened and what I'd experienced. I can't wait to talk about it at the end of the show and talk about spoilers. But yeah, I thought it was absolutely stunning. And I think it's easily the best game I played this year. The puzzles are clever, the atmosphere is off the charts, and it's just a fantastic experience.
Sean, man, are you what are you thinking?
Thinking,
Well, I need
why haven't
to
got an
fucking
Xbox?
need to buy it, obviously. In case this needs explaining to those listening, because obviously I don't have an Xbox One, so I need to wait for the PC version, which is out on the 7th, which is... Wait, so will that be when this show goes up? No, it won't.
This will be a week tomorrow if this comes out on the Wednesday.
Right, yes.
A week? A week tomorrow?
No. This game will be out tomorrow. This show will be out on Wednesday the 6th.
Yeah.
So I've heard enough, to be honest. I know I need to play it, so fine.
Just get on it, Sean.
It's really frustrating. It's been a long time since something's come about where everyone's raving about it so much, and I can't play it. Normally, because I'm enough of a dick to just get if everyone's talking about something, then I'll just buy it. But it's been a while since not owning the format has prevented me. I think this is probably the first game on the Xbox One where I've been like, fucking hell. I mean, obviously I can wait a week for the PC version, but if this was a full on exclusive, I think I would be gutted.
You wouldn't have broken down when the 250 Xbox came out?
Well, no, not for one game. Not for one indie game.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, yeah.
It's a very
It's not just for one game, though, is it?
There's nothing else I'm fussed about.
But you see, that does highlight what's kind of... I mean, this game also highlights me for what's been sadly missed from the Xbox this time around, because this has been the first game that's been like this, really.
That's true, and the
There hasn't
Xbox
been anything
360
else, really.
championed stuff like this, didn't it? So
Yeah.
I mean,
was-
the Summer of Arcade was alright. The last couple that they did weren't too good. But do you remember when that first started and we had Trials and Explosion Man and
Shadow Complex.
Explosion
That
Man
was
and
brilliant.
Shadow Complex? Yeah, you loved that game despite the fact that it was made by a cunt. What was the?
No, it was the
the
author.
other games?
It wasn't made
Limbo and
by
Bastion.
It was Bastion. Yeah, it was good.
No, I know. I mean, it's a long-running joke, isn't it? But but then your Bastion and Limbo, obviously, and stuff like that. Was Braid in that originally?
Yeah,
or was
yeah.
that separate?
Yeah.
That is fucking mad, isn't it? So many games like that come out on that one, sort of the Summer of Arcade. That was a success, man. I would love them to bring that back and maintain the quality that they did when it started.
Yeah.
That was
would
all
be special.
pre-Matric, wasn't it? That's,
Yeah, BM. The thing is though, that time in gaming when all that shit was coming out was so exciting. Because you had all these AAA titles that we were all expecting, and they all come out, and they were all as good as we expected and stuff. But then there was these little gems being dropped left, right, and centre, and it was kind of like, that is really missing from this gen, I think, so far. And, you know, I can't see anything. I mean, obviously Cuphead is really anticipated, but that feels like it's being promoted like a AAA game rather than just a gem out of nowhere. Like, if they drop Cuphead and then it come out like a month later, that would have made more sense for me, but it seems to be dragging on that game.
Can I ask a question about this, actually? Because when the PS4 was first announced, they made a big thing about how they were going after indies and everything as being like a big thing.
Yeah.
How has that worked out? Because I don't know, because I don't own one.
Trying to think. I mean,
No
yeah,
man's
Really?
Sky.
They haven't been promoting them, have they, Sean?
No, they haven't pushed it as heavily as they have previously. But there's been tons
a
of good
lot
stuff.
of indie games come out, but I feel they were kind of front loaded, and it's like that. I mean, these days you don't really hear about them unless they come into PS Plus.
Yeah.
But at the start, there was like all these. There was that game. What was that bloody game where you read minds? It was like a platformer, but you're a sticker, and you can read people's minds. And you had
Stick It
solve
to the
puzzles. Stick It to the Man.
Yeah.
And you had like things like a Doki Doki Universe and Resogun and stuff like that. And then it's kind of dried up, I guess. But I suppose the biggest game of last year could possibly be Rocket League, and that kind of feels like an indie game like that. So I'm not too sure. It is missing something like Summer of Arcade to shine a light on them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
To
they
say
often, like, a lot, you know, these games will come out and they don't even feature them on the store particularly. It's just, you know, fucking Call of Duty's out. Right, okay.
Is that
is
is
it?
that also, though, because everyone's always just waiting for stuff to come out on PS Plus instead?
Well, yeah, I think
You know,
there is
so
a bit of that. I mean, one thing I will say is that, like, every single decent-looking indie game that's come out on the Wii U, I'm always just like, yeah, but it's on PSN, and if I get it on PSN, I'll get the Vita version, so...
Yeah.
I mean...
Harsh.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've not played Inside and you've got a PC that can run it, or even an Xbox One, and you've never really heard of it, buy it. I said in my review that you could go and read that at spawn.com. It's I can't think of anyone that I wouldn't recommend this to. There's a guy that I see quite regularly, a mate of mine, who's got an Xbox One, and he doesn't play it that often, but you know, he has the odd game of FIFA or Rainbow Six or something like that. And I said, you've got to just try it. You've just got to play it because it's so different. I can't imagine anyone sitting there playing it and not getting something out of it. Because if they're not into all the weird themes that it touches on, surely the art style will grab them, or the sound design will grab them, or the amazing puzzles will grab them. You know, there's so much in this game to like that if there's one element that you don't, there'll still be enough there to keep you to make it feel worth your purchase. So yeah, very very big fan of that game, and it's up there for Game of the Year with me. Which is weird because when I finished it, I was a little bit down on it, not totally down on it, but was a little bit like, what?
Yeah, I definitely had that, but I was also in a daze like, what the hell have I just experienced? And wow, what an experience.
Weird, but I suppose we'll get to that at the end of the show.
We will. So if you want to hear some spoilers, stick around to after the theme music at the end of the show.
Innit? All right, Sean, what you got for us?
Well, I mean, that all sounds well and good, but I tell you what, it's no
Here we go.
Lost Reavers on the Wii U.
What the fuck is that?
So this was the project that fucking Harada announced at E3 a couple of years back, and back then it was called Project Treasure, and it was going to be this free-to-play like co-op action RPG thing. Basically, so you know how Devil's Third was shit. Basically, take that and make it a free-to-play online co-op game.
What? See, I mean, they did that with Devil's Third anyway, but on the PC, right?
Yeah. But it's just fucking... It's... You know when you're just like, I can't even get angry about this. It's just a waste of everyone's time.
Okay, so what genre is it? What sort of game is it? What do you do?
It is very similar to Devil's Third in that it's basically there's 4 different characters you can choose from, and some are melee focused and some are gun focused. But I think they've all got like some melee abilities and some shooting abilities, and you switch between the two of them. But you're just going to end up using the one that your character's supposed to be best at. So that's that. And you go through levels and you kill these rubbish zombies, and some of them have guns, and sometimes there's little spawn points and you have to destroy them. And then you get to the end. And it just feels horrible to play. There's annoying, shitty music over the whole thing. I mean, there's 2 female characters in it, and they're both wearing completely inappropriate attire. But it's just like, do you know what? I'm not even engaging with it on that level, because what's the fucking point?
Sure, why are you playing this game?
Because it's free, and it's a Wii U game, and there's not many of them around anymore. So,
oh my god,
So where are they getting the money from then? What is there?
I don't know. You can, at some point you can buy stuff. I didn't even get that far. I don't understand why they've bothered. There can't be more than like 10 people playing it. It's just sad.
When you say so it's online co-op.
Yeah.
And were you getting games of it?
Yeah, there was about 3 rooms I could join, with like a couple of players each, and that's it.
See, because I remember when we were both reviewing Devil's Third, and we said, right, we got to review the multiplayer. Let's try and find a game.
Yeah.
3/4 of an hour we were in a lobby, and then we said, well, okay, but let's try it when it comes out, just to see, we got a few games in with like 1 or 2 people, but then when it come out, I thought I'd give it another go, see what the servers are like. Got in, exactly the same.
Yeah, nothing happening. which might just be that the matchmaking's fucked.
I don't think that was the case, Sean. I think it's on 3 copies, and it had 12 game modes.
Right, this is a free to download game. Homework, you guys have got to like try and get a game organised between you 3 at least, because it might be.
I'd be up for that. I would be up for that.
You 3 playing together, so that's what I want.
I'll download it
next
tonight.
Week.
I'll download it tonight. We'll try it.
I want to hear that. For next
James,
week.
you up for that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can do that.
What's it called?
Lost Reavers.
Oh, Jesus.
Well,
fuck.
actually, no, according to the document, it's Lost Reavers Gotti 2016. So make sure you search
That's
for
what I've called it.
Make sure you search for Gotti.
So yeah, and I've been playing more Stardew Valley. It's winter now, and it's stunningly bleak. Like all the things I was saying last time, but I'm just like getting on doing my farm, and like everyone seems to hate me, but whatever. Just like that, but more so, because you just like every day you get up, you haven't got any crops because it's winter and nothing grows, so like all your fields are just fucked. And you just get up, you sort your animals out, you feed them, you milk your cows, whatever, and you're like, well, it's still only 9 a.m. I guess I'll just go and wander off and cut some trees down. And then you do that for a bit, and then you're like, well, it's noon, I may as well go to bed.
But Sean, everything I've heard in the past about this game, people barely mentioned the farming. They will talk about talking to people in town, talking about exploring, mines or whatever. Are you talking to anyone, or are you just sticking to your farm and going to bed?
I'm just sticking to my farming. No, I'm talking to a few people, and I'm getting requests, but obviously half of them are like, oh, yeah, I need plants. And it's like, well, it's winter, so you're out of luck, mate. No, I've been doing the mines as well. That's been quite cool. It's been really interesting because like it changes to winter, and then suddenly it's like, well, I can't do plants anymore, so I need to find other things to do. And I've harvested a fucking shit ton of wood. But yeah, I've started doing more stuff in the mines and like making more progress there, because it's like, well, I haven't got any plants to look after. And then like this guy tweeted at me saying, oh, winter's really good because it allows you to like refocus and like, right, what do I want to, like, I can't do plants and I now really wish I could. So what do I want to do when spring comes around again? And straight away I was like, right, I want to build a load of sprinklers and set them up. And then I was thinking, right, the sprinklers like only sprinkle like the 4 adjacent tiles, like so above, below, left and right. And I was like, right, so what's the most efficient way of laying them out? And then like got a piece of paper and drew like a square grid, and then figured out like the layout I'd need to put them in. And then the guy tweeted at me, then tweeted at me saying, oh yeah, I spent like an hour drawing out a plan for all my sprinklers. I was like, mate, I've just fucking done that.
That's brilliant. I thought the early days of Minecraft, didn't it, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I literally sent you an AutoCAD plan for our for our nightclub.
Oh, I want to go back into Minecraft a bit.
Fucking chasers.
Yeah.
Did you ever come onto our server in the end, Sean?
I think I did. I never saw chasers though.
No, because it was hidden.
Oh, was it? Secret.
Because I
It
found
was
an
exclusive.
article that I found an article. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was hidden, wasn't it? There was
Yeah.
literally a doorway in the middle of nowhere. Although we did put a massive chasers sign up with
Yeah,
fire
it was
all over
huge.
it.
It was massive.
But there was just a little doorway in the middle of nowhere, and you walked down, and there was this huge underground club. I remember I had to get permission from the server owner to put lava in there because people were abusing lava. And then, man, there was so many stories about that. Did you? Do you remember Campfire Burning?
Yeah.
The guy on Twitter. He created this whole like cave thing. And someone broke into the server, completely destroyed it, and put a sign outside the cave saying "Campfire burning sucks dick." and he
that is
instantly
mean.
emailed me. He instantly emailed me and said, "David, was this you? Because I don't find this funny." I was like, "No." But I wrote an article about it. I interviewed him about it. I wrote an article about it for Spoil at the time. That was. Yeah, and then there was like this big controversy about people because they had this massive glass cathedral and people kept like breaking the floor.
Well, yeah, because
Just
I
kept, like, smashing
on
it.
that server I built like what was it? It was like a tree in like a giant glass dome that I then filled with water. And then one day someone thought it'd be funny to just break some of the glass so all the water poured out. That was good.
It was also funny. I remember watching. There's like 12. Well, there's a fair few of us on the server at once, and someone accidentally set the forest alight. And watching
Nice.
like everyone like just almost in tears basically because the entire forest was on fire and then people's houses started burning was one of the funniest things I've ever experienced in an online game in my life.
Recently, I had a video suggested to me on YouTube to go and watch the most cringy moments from Minecon, the Minecraft convention.
yeah.
And I sat down, all gleaming from ear to ear, thinking, yeah, this is it. This is going to be my night. I'm going to go through this. There's several different copies of it, like with different. This is only part one. Can't wait for the next part. And by the end of it, I was just completely touched, and I just thought these people are really into Minecraft and they're having a nice time. This is nice. Okay, they're a bit socially awkward, but who isn't? And it completely destroyed me.
That's the
I just
problem when
thought-
you get like fail compilation videos and stuff, and it's like the first few, it's like someone fucking falling out of their chair, and that's always funny. And then after
It
a
is.
bit, you're like, oh, I'm just laughing at people with genuine mental illnesses.
Yeah, there was a lot of that on there,
Yeah.
and I kind of thought, "Oh, this ain't funny. This
Yeah.
is just someone
Really
that's
mean.
very socially awkward." Yeah,
Yeah.
like but there was one. Right, okay, let me explain this because I'm, how out of touch I am with stuff, and I'm like a fucking idiot with stuff like this. There was one guy that clearly, the kid. He was a kid. He must have been about 12. He clearly had autism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he turned around to, and when I say clearly had autism, it was because of his question, nothing else. He turned around and
Is that
said,
Sonic the Hedgehog?
"Did anyone?"
Oh, sorry. That was.
Come on. He asked people that were working on the game, does anyone that work on the game suffer from autism?
Okay.
And they turned around to him and said, yeah, that's a very inappropriate question. We're not going to answer that. Right? Which is
Because
okay.
there's a way
right,
of
if
hearing
that's-
that question that's like, oh, the people who work on this have fucking autism, did they? Like,
Yeah.
but that's obviously
like,
not what you meant.
I think what they were saying was that if we wouldn't want to tell a whole room of people, like, it's a very
Yeah.
personal question or whatever. The kid was 12, and because of that question, that would indicate that he might have autism. There was a better way to respond.
Yeah.
They literally turned around and went, no, we're not answering that. It's a very inappropriate question. Like, I just wish I was on that panel to go, to ask him. And then not turn it back on him, but just say, why does that interest you? And then just treat these little kids like, I don't know, there was some real sort of tension between the people asking questions and the people answering them. I just kind of thought, don't be dicks. Yeah. They're there because they love the game you work on. Yeah. Just be nice.
Yeah, it's like the kid asking that is probably, his angle is probably because I do, and I found this relatable for certain reasons, or this is how it's benefited me, or any number of angles that could have come from.
Just a weird moment. But, that's why I... Basically, after watching that video, that's why I'm not going to watch any videos of BronyCons, because I don't want to have sympathy for those people. Right. Should we get to the emails?
Quickly, I've also been playing Destiny, Iron Banner weekend. Good fun. Got some cool items. Made my numbers go up. Had a laugh. Good game.
I need to get back on that.
It's good, man.
Seriously, need to get back on that.
It's proper good. I'm high enough light level to start doing the proper new Prison of Elders stuff, so I'm buzzing.
I'm well behind with that, no doubt. Do you get like a load of new gear when you log in? Because I'm assuming they've just introduced a load of stuff.
You get in boxes, don't you?
Yeah, you get these old boxes, but they won't have good stuff in them. But it's easy enough to get yourself leveled up now. So just whenever you fancy doing it, I'll make sure I'm there and I can talk you through all the bizarre new shit it's throwing at you.
I mean, that's what I want to do, but apparently we're playing some shit-free Wii U game, so...
Priorities, mate.
Hey, boys.
Priorities.
For the show. The show comes first.
The show is
before
boss.
our own joy. That's me.
Right, okay. Emails or tweets?
Okay, we've got some emails. We've got 2 emails. We've got, first one, do you keep your gaming hobby to yourself when you meet new people, or even people you've known for a while? I'm just curious, as the majority of my friends have no clue that I'm a gamer. I'm not saying I'd be worried about them knowing, but I've got a feeling nerd culture is still a bit taboo to most people. If I told someone at a bar that I'm into music, football and video games, they would instantly imagine me in my parents' basement with a pot noodle in my beard. I mean, if I found out a friend was really into knitting, they listened to knitting podcasts and watched knitting press conferences every year at 2 a.m, I think that they were fucking weird. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I think that's a very inappropriate question, and we're not going to answer that.
It's weird, right? Because I always feel like, I might have mentioned this before, where I'm just like, I'm at ease with it. I understand that some people might find it odd, but I don't really care anymore. I'm 31 years old. Who gives a shit? But then occasionally, like I was at work, and I mentioned I was going to Glasgow for the weekend. This is for Glasgow Games. I said, it's like a video gaming thing. And this one woman who doesn't normally work out of our office and is a bit of a cunt, just started being like, is it like you're going to like dressing up and doing all that? And I'm a bit like, no, but not that that's, I mean, that's not me. And people do that, and that is fine, but I don't. But why am I keen to point out that I don't when I think it's fine, but I'm just not?
Here's what you should do, Sean.
Yeah.
Dress up like Bayonetta just once in your house, just one time, get a photo of it, and if someone ever says that to you again, go, yeah, I do, look. Just show it to them. Because I just want to blow their little minds. Yeah. I've always gone into it by going, I play video games. I love them. Like, I think if you have your confidence behind it, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, if you can just own it and be like, look, like if you think this is weird, it's because you're old. Sorry.
I was going to say, people are a similar age group now. Like they've gone over it for a long, long time. So, everyone plays games. Just look at the train or the bus on the way to work. Everyone's playing Candy Crush or like some game on their phone. Like it's I'm not embarrassed at all.
Yeah, but when you start explaining that, that's when you've lost. Like when you're speaking to a non-gamer and going, look, everyone plays games. You play Candy Crush. That's a game. Like you've lost at that point, and it's ridiculous.
Like when like when any television program covers games, and that they always start with the video games are now a multi-billion-dollar industry. And they're everywhere, and everyone everyone plays Angry Birds, and it's like if they had permeated culture to that extent, you wouldn't feel the need to point that out.
Even girls play them now. Do you know what I mean? It's like fucking nonsense those programs come out with. It's just insane. Yeah. But no, I don't explain it. It's like people go, like I will just actively say, "Oh yeah, I've started playing this new game. It's fucking brilliant." You play video games? Yes, I love them. They don't know how to react to that. Like, oh, do you?
Yeah.
I fucking love them. They're the best. I love playing. I'm so addicted to games. I might have to just. I might have to put that in every podcast from now on.
It's like I've had a few discussions where I've mentioned like, oh well, like when I went to Chris Spann's stag do, and I was like, we're going to a farmhouse, middle of nowhere, and we're all going to take consoles. We're going to play games.
Yeah, but that's not.
And that's. I mean, all right, okay. In the context of a stag, I can see why some people might think that's odd, but but if they do sort of turn their nose off and be like, no, right, it's not like. We don't play games where you all just sit there staring at the screen and don't speak. You pick games that you know are going to get people like fucking screaming at each other and shouting and actually having fun and talking about it. And like, I think a lot of people don't realise that stuff like that exists. Like when you if you get people who don't really play games, be like, oh yeah, fucking sit down and play Gang Beasts with some people you don't know. And then in 10 minutes, they're all like absolutely like pissing themselves laughing and shouting at each other.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's that simple. I don't know if it's that easy to translate. I've met people where I've literally gone, this is so much fun, and then given them a pad, and they're just like, oh, I don't get it. This is, and then they put the pad down. And I'm not just no. But I never shy away from telling people that I love them. Not them. I love them.
I love you.
Computer games.
Never shy away from telling people your true feelings.
The last time I did this, someone actually asked me if I like games, and I started getting all excited and started talking to them. And then it turns out that they were another Michael Fox, and it was board games they were referring to.
Leave off.
And then I was just like, ugh.
Get out, you nerd. I'll tell you what is funny though, going to a party now and seeing like, and there being like a 14-year-old kid there, and talking to them on a level about computer games. People just look at you like a fucking weirdo. I was at a party. I was at my uncle's 60th birthday party, and one of it's sort of distant relative, but he's about 14, 15, and he was talking about Destiny, and like on a level, like not, oh, I like to play Destiny. I like that level on Earth. It was like, yeah, we were doing Prison of Elders the other day, and this happened, and then I'm looking to level up this side, and I'm a level such and such, and all this, and I was having a proper genuine on the level conversation with him about bits of Destiny. Talk about Vault of Glass and the first time we went through that and stuff like that. And his dad sat there. He looked like he was about to be sick on the floor. It was like his child talking to a 31-year-old man in what looked like a different language. It was like, really funny.
I've had productive conversations. It was one of my aunties was like, she's got cousins even. She's got a son, and she's like, oh, a bit worried about him. Like he just really likes playing computer games, and he's a teenager, and I'm like, a bit concerned. And I'm like, mate, that's basically fine now. Like it's not like I think older people have this view that like, oh, if he plays games, then that's it. It's like no, like as long as your kid is just well into something, they will find other people who are into the same thing, and they will develop a social life around that.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Absolutely.
Well, like drugs, Sean.
Well, yeah, exactly. Particularly drugs.
Social life around drugs.
And I think she actually said like, like I'm worried, like how's he going to meet girls? It's like girls fucking play games as well. It's going to be fine. And even if they don't,
should have just said,
you don't have to.
There's a website called My Free Cams. Go check it out.
No,
that's how he's going to meet girls.
Second life.
But yeah, and even if they don't, like, you don't have to meet people based off shared interests. You can just,
none of my very close friends play video games, apart from Matt and
thanks a fucking bunch,
Chet and John and James and you. But like I'm talking like my real life mates. You know what I mean? Not ones
gets worse.
I see every year. There was a related question to this that I thought we should just skip to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it, so I'm doing your job here, James. But I just know that you'd never put two and two together.
While
where
you're
is
doing
it?
that, in relation
Yeah.
to like the conferences, I mean, I obviously like Sean. The cool people in the room. We booked time off at E3, and I don't know. I've like watched E3 and absolutely love it. It's the best thing ever. It's like Christmas every year. A bit like real Christmas, in fact. But I never thought it'd be I just didn't think it'd be embarrassing. It's just like what I've done. So when people say what are you doing for you that time off, I said, oh, I'm just watching these video game conferences that were streamed from America, and I thought, hang on, is this embarrassing? I don't. And
Well, what always amuses me about the conversation about E3 is I'll always start with, well, basically every year there's this massive conference in LA. And they go, oh shit, you're going to LA? No.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Go to Los Angeles and being paid by a magazine to go and cover it. No.
You see, like my wife rips the piss out of me for doing this. Like every time, like we're done with this, and I go in, she's like, "Oh, had a good time, did you?" And all this kind of thing. It's awful.
See, Joe she gets angry if I'm not playing a game that she thinks is socially acceptable. So
Right.
if I'm playing Call of Duty or FIFA, she doesn't mind at all. Anything with explosions, she's totally fine with. But when I'm playing Dark Souls, she's like, "What the fuck is this? You're not doing this to me. You're not doing this to me, David. Turn this off." You know what I mean? Stuff like that. She draws a line, big time. Ms. Rangers 999 asked, name one game to show a non-gamer why you love gaming so much. So it's kind of related. He said, for me, it's Rez. It took me places no other game has. I could not. I think that's a terrible choice. I mean, it's all personal and stuff, but I think it's a terrible choice.
That's not going to show anyone. Like, if someone has like a very distant preconceived notion about what games are, Rez is not the game to make them go, oh, holy shit. Like, that just, it's like, oh, it's sort of like Tron. Of course it is. You know?
Yeah. And it's not very clear what you're doing, and it's that you can't relate to it at any point, I don't think. Yeah. But for me, right, my favourite game to explain to a non-gamer, and it's only one side of gaming that I'm explaining here, but it's one side of gaming that they can go, okay, I can get on board with that, is Mass Effect, the Mass Effect trilogy. So I turn around to them and say, do you watch Star Wars? Yeah. Imagine a Star Wars game where you're controlling Anakin Skywalker and I don't know what they're called.
Kill me.
And Darth Vader's is coming down from the spaceship, the mothership, and you get to decide everything but basically, like, I'm taking a piss there, but imagine a Star Wars where you watch the first film, but you're deciding everything the character is doing. You're not deciding on what happens to the character or the events that are going on around him, but you're deciding how you can control. You can form alliances with certain people, you can make enemies from other people, you could treat people like shit, you could treat people well, and your consequences reacting characters' deaths and loss of team members and stuff like that. Now imagine the second film coming out, and everything you've done in that first game carries over to that first film, carries over to that second film, and so your experience and your film is so different to someone else that's also going through this. And then imagine a third game coming out, and the first two, all the stuff carries over to that one as well. The ending shit, don't worry about that. Just treat that like the films 4, 5, and 6 in the Star Wars trilogy. But what they can relate to there is that, hold on, oh, I get it now. It's kind of like you're building this story yourself, and it's different to people around you. Like, it's got different consequences, different things happen. And that shows what an interactive medium can do to something that they're totally used to. Do you know what I mean? They're used to watching films, but they're not used to having a separate experience from someone else that's watched the same film. Whereas with games, you can do that because it's interactive. That's how I describe just a small... That's part of the reason why I love this medium. And I think that gets that point across really clearly to someone that's never played a game before.
I would say that's a terrible one, but it's personal choice.
Why is that?
Well, because the question was name one game to show a non-gamer. I mean, that's a great game to explain stuff to a non-gamer, but if you show a non-gamer,
I suppose you're right.
A man, it's like shoot, oh, and like you're like person has a button combinations, you're going to menus, I don't know, I think that'd be too much. So you fucked it there.
I suppose you're right.
But it's a really good question.
If it was just showing it, it'd just be fucking Drive Club, because I'd just be like, look how good it looks.
Yeah, that's the sad answer, isn't it? is you just show them a fucking driving game, and but like obviously there was a good piece. I think Lewis Denby wrote it. This is going back years now, and it was he was saying like he was outside a nightclub or something and got chatting to someone. Guy says, "Oh, what do you do?" Write about video games. Guy says, "Oh yeah, that Halo's really good, isn't it?" And you sort of, being the people we are, we want to be like, well, yeah, but that doesn't really, like, that's scratching the surface, mate. Like, there's so much that games do now, and that's just, but of course, like, what you should just do is be like, yeah, Halo's wicked. Because it is. But yeah, there's like, just to pick one game to sort of be the sort of ambassador, I don't think I could do it. Like,
what about The Witness? Yeah, I could do that one.
Yeah.
No.
But then again, that's like, yeah, because that relies on you knowing quite a lot about games and how games work. Like with The Witness, you can't just be like, this game where you go around an island and there's these little panels with puzzles on them. And, you know, like it is quite unremarkable in that sense. But to then be like, no, it's really clever the way it sort of develops all these sort of visual languages and you learn to interpret them and blah, blah, blah.
I think, just thinking about the question now, I think Portal 2 might be a good one because it's got quite funny dialogue. You know, maybe they recognise Stephen Merchant or whatever. It looks quite interesting. It's a fun little puzzle game, but it's not too complex. It's fit. Yeah, I think Portal 2 might be a good one, but it's a really good question. I'm going to think about a better answer for next week, I think.
I was kind of in this situation recently. Do you remember though, that woman at work was doing some research for a book and she asked me to show us a few games. So I showed her Skate 2, I think, not Skate 2, what's the what is that? The side-scrolling, you know, old-school-looking skating game.
Oh, Ollie Ollie.
Ollie Ollie.
Yeah, so I showed her Ollie Ollie 2 to say, look, this is point-based gaming. So, you know, I was taking her through stuff like that. The game that impressed her the most was Destiny. Because at the time I was playing Destiny a lot. And I booted Destiny up and I was like, okay, this is like the hub area. So I took her to the tower and said, this is just people going about their business. They're buying things, they're selling things, they're doing stuff like this.
This is where commerce happens.
Then I took her to Earth, and like obviously it was Earth. I said, "This is Earth, but it's, you know, years and years in the future, and it's complete wasteland now." And then showed her around a bit, and then she said, "Well, what's that? Why aren't you shooting that one there?" I said, "Well, that's another player in the game." She said, "What? Someone in the world?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to drive over to them." So I drove over to them and just did an emote of a little dance. And she laughed at that, and then she absolutely pissed herself when the other person danced back. She said, "What? So someone's actually dancing with you now, like somewhere in the world?" Yeah, that's just how you communicate in this game when you haven't got your headset on. And like within minutes, I was just completely lost doing my own thing. And she was like, "Wow, you're really into this now, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah, sorry, that happens." And that was the one that stuck out for her. Really, it was very strange. I didn't expect it to be that. I thought that would be the turn off. But
it depends massively on the person you're trying to sell on it, isn't it? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's like with music or whatever. You can't just be like, "Well, I think this is good and worthwhile, so therefore listen to it." Like, it's all about knowing what other people are into and what's going to pique their interest.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I genuinely like showing people Mario Kart 8 because I think for a lot of people, a surprising amount of people, the last Mario Kart game they saw was Super Mario Kart because that was so huge and so many people had SNESes and stuff and they remember Super Mario Kart. And then when you look at what that game looks like now, they're like, holy shit, this is pretty special. And I'm like, yep.
See, with,
not
like,
when you've played it for a million hours.
Something like Journey, I think maybe is a good one. One, because there's no combat in it, and it's just, you know, if you explain to people, look, you start this game and you're this like weird monk thing, and it just goes, right, there's a mountain. Go on. You know, and like that's sort of intriguing enough. And then when you explain how the multiplayer works, in that, again, if you just show it to someone, be like, look, that's another person. I can't really communicate directly with them. I can just do these little chirpy noises and flutter about. But watch as we learn to work together. You know, and that's cool and weird, and they, you know, again, it's something only games could do.
I've got a feeling VR will help bridging this gap a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I can't imagine someone coming over and saying, put this headset on, try this out, and then A, not being impressed, and B, not wanting to do it.
Yeah.
I think that will be something that really bridges that
I was
gap.
also thinking, when this first question first got read out, I thought, okay, maybe The Walking Dead, season 1, because that was like a real emotional sort of pull for me. I thought that so it was amazing when I thought that's like a lot to show someone. How long are they going to be around your house? Do I have to get them a taxi home when it's like 2 a.m? Also, Last of Us, it's a stunning beginning. It's a really great start to the game. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
and maybe Last of Us might be, it's also quite violent, but that's obviously a really sort of cinematic experience and one that should be fairly easy to translate.
Do you remember? Right,
it's a bloody great question.
The console had a lot of faults and everything. But do you remember when the Wii came out and there was just this question would just be instantly answered with Wii Sports?
Yeah.
The amount of people it was like, I don't want to play a game, and you just go, no, look, it's bowling. All you do is hold their swing and then let go of the ball, and they like, okay, oh wow, this is really good fun. And 9 times out of 10, they got a strike on their first go, and you were like, okay, can I have it back now?
Yeah, go on in now.
but man, that got a lot of people. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? It got a lot of people that weren't into games. So that was that was a pretty incredible week when I was taking that Wii around with me everywhere to show people.
Has there been like studies? Obviously, at the time everyone's saying the Wii is expanding the market and this, that, and the other. I mean, has anyone looked into it? Has there been like a noticeable difference since then? I know, obviously, there's more people in the world. Are more people buying games?
And then people bought iPhones. And then everyone just plays stuff on iPhones now.
Yeah, shame.
Next question.
Okay, we got, my girlfriend and I were recently searching for a new television for her flat. She's not played a lot of games since she was younger, and plugging her GameCube into the HD TV, it looked pretty shit. What game would you like to see updated with more modern graphics?
Sean?
Good question, Luke.
What do you think, Sean?
Sticking with the GameCube thing, Doshin the Giant.
I thought you were going to say Skate 3. You missed a classic gag there. Next question.
Okay, we got, these are the tweets now. We got, from Haze Red Mist, we got, what are the panelists' favourite handheld consoles of all time and why?
Easy for me. The DS Lite.
Yeah.
That is still a stunning piece of kit to look at. I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think it looks so good. And when you open it up, it brings back loads of memories. I mean, Wendan was up there as one of my favourite games of all time.
The DS Lite was the last DS I owned, actually.
It was.
Yeah,
did I ever tell you? So my friend Ian Dixon, who has been, he's been on Midnight Resistance. He used to be on Dark Zero back in the day, but then he got a job in the industry, so couldn't really do stupid podcasts anymore. He
didn't stop Capone.
That's true. So he lived in Japan for a year, 2 years, and he would basically, he would take requests for stuff that I wanted from Japan, which at one point included a DS Lite and a copy of Owenden. And then basically, when he had enough stuff to fill a sizable cardboard box, he'd ship it over. And fucking hell, what an amazing thing. It's basically like Christmas, except half of your presents you've just picked and the other half one of your best mates has picked for you. And it's all stuff from Japan that you couldn't just get yourself. It was fucking mint. And yeah, basically that morning I was just glued to Owenden all day. It was wicked.
Did I tell you about how I found out about Owenden and how I ended up playing it?
No.
I was in Milton Keynes at the time and I had a knock at the door and I went and answered it. It was the postman. And he said, I've got a package for you. And I was like, okay. Sign for it. Open it up. It was Wendan. It was, that front cover, that red front cover with a big Japanese text over it. I was like, what the fuck is this? And where has it come from? So I put it in and obviously it was all Japanese. I didn't understand a thing. So I looked it up and found the game and found the translation. So started playing it and thought, this is fucking insanely good. Oh my God. So I went on Xbox Live and we were probably playing Bank Shot Billiards too, me and James Farley. And I went, this is so weird. Someone sent me this game and I have no idea what it is. It's some rhythm action game. And you went, Owenden? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you were smashed on Xbox Live the other week, and we were talking about it, and you said you were going to order it before you went to bed. And yeah, I did. I ordered it. Woke up the next morning, completely forgot about it.
Amazing.
Do you remember that? Because we played that. We were playing that at exactly the same time. We finished the game at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Because I finished it, I called you, and you were like, "I've just finished as well." And it was an amazing game.
And then when you think about like Phoenix Wright and playing that game on that system and stuff like that, man, that console was just so good. I loved it.
I've got so many Animal Crossing memories on that console. I remember I bring that into work.
I've still got mine. Maybe I should pick up an old copy of that. I'm sure you could get that in CX. An old copy of Animal Crossing on the DS Lite. I'd play
definitely.
that.
You can. Yeah.
What color one did you have? I had the white one, like crystal white, or whatever it's called.
I had the navy blue one that only came out in Japan.
Yeah,
how about that,
blue as
Win?
well.
Show off.
Sweet.
Cool lads.
I also had a custom wooden stylus from Rollmuck Forum.
Ah, yeah, I always wanted to get one of
Elmo.
those. They look proper nice.
They were so good. Yeah, they were good. I know they improved my Oenda no end. Yeah.
I had a mad experience playing Oendon on a train once. In that it was weird. Like, you've seen The Matrix, yeah?
Yeah.
I've seen that film.
Seen that cultural milestone, yeah.
Well, I never know with Dave. He's just like, what the fuck is that? And basically, when Neo sees the Matrix at the end, it was a bit like that. It was like I was seeing, like, as the rings sort of get smaller, and then when you reach the center, that's when you have to tap him. It was like I could see them like as like units of time.
You do have to go on a certain days, don't you? You have to go in the zone to really smash
went into a proper trance doing it. It was amazing.
I wasn't such a fan of Elite Beat Agents. It was still good, but it didn't have a charm.
It wasn't that great. I did like
it
that.
was interesting, wasn't it? It was just because we knew all the songs in it. So
did you ever play Oendan 2? Because that was also not quite as good.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
mostly because of the song choices were not quite as good.
Yeah, I think part of the joy for us playing the first one was just that. Yeah, it was like we didn't know any of the songs, and some of them were fucking great.
Yeah, they were great.
Oh,
Rinda,
I want to play it again.
Fucking
the violin
wait,
one.
Did you do that on purpose, or are you just being racist?
What?
It's Linda.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Do they literally say Rinda? Do they?
Yeah,
do they say
I
Linda?
know,
I
but
don't know.
Accidental racism of the week.
Thing.
I don't know, Sean. I don't care anymore. How about you, James? Is it the same for you?
Yeah, probably this one. Or the links. I'm joking.
I also love my GBA Advance. I play that tons.
Do you remember what the original DS looked like? Fuck, that was awful.
Yeah, the DS Fat
Big
Hide one.
silver
Hideous
mess.
machine. Who knew that was going to destroy the PSP?
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking hell.
All right,
I remember playing
next question.
the Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk games on Game Boy Advance. Oh, I love them. They were class.
They were surprisingly
the only
alright.
games.
Yeah.
The only games on the Game Boy Advance I can remember really enjoying were probably Advance Wars, which was amazing, and the Castlevania games.
I was going to say the
really
Castlevania
good.
games. Yeah, they're amazing. All the DS ones were wicked as well.
WarioWare.
Yeah,
It was
also good.
original DS.
What X versus
Advance,
Sever?
Classic.
Do you remember
Seminal
Next question,
first-person shooter.
Hey,
we got to do a whole spoiler
games,
cast
Dave.
after this. We've got to do a whole
No, it doesn't
spoiler
bother me.
cast.
I'm going to bed when we...
X versus Sever. Bring it back. That
Do
could have
we
been.
have to do that?
That could have been an amazing lie. Anyway, whatever.
Next question.
Okay, Summer Games Done Quick is on this week.
Yes.
What game would you like to see done quick?
Do you want to explain what it is first, Sean?
Okay, so this Summer Games Done Quick is the summer version of... Was it Awesome Games Done Quick?
Yeah.
AGDQ. Yeah, and it's just a cool little speedrunning event for charity, where basically they just get loads of people to stream them doing ludicrous speedruns. I saw Bastion completed in like 25 minutes last night. And yeah, it's pretty good fun, and it's for charity, and it's...
Is that where that video's from, where that guy's playing some weird platformer game, and some other guy was commentating on the sofa next to him, and the tension was awful between them? Have you not seen that?
That sounds exactly like it, yes.
Yeah, it was really awkward. And then at one point, the guy goes, "I would prefer if you just shut up."
Yeah.
And then the guy just dips his head and doesn't say anything for the rest of the stream.
Well, this
It was
is
really
the
awkward.
thing. As it turns out, lads who obsessively play one game to the exclusion of all others in order to completely master it and learn all its bugs and tricks and whatever, just to shave a few seconds off their total playtime. Not the most charismatic people, which is fine. I mean, that's why, like I said, that's why they have this setup where you've got the guy playing it, and then they'll have like a few people on a sofa behind them to sort of commentate. The thing is, half the guys on the sofa don't really say fuck all. There'll just be one person who's like a functioning human being, and they do all the talking. Sometimes, like the guy during the Bastion one, the guy who was actually playing it, like he was just talking to the whole thing, and he was just really confidently explaining everything he was doing. And like some people can just multitask like that, I guess. But it's fascinating. It's not something I could ever like. The idea of getting into it myself fills me with dread. It's like when people start, talking really seriously about esports and stuff. I'm like, man, that is just not. It's not how I enjoy games. But it is fascinating to see the things that they do.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, like they'll be playing through a game and they'll be like, oh, and by the way, we're on the Japanese version because there's slightly less dialogue in it, so that shaves off about 2 seconds. And stuff like this. And then it's like sometimes you'll get ones where it's just, they're just incredibly good at the game. Or they've learned that if you use the slide kick, it's slightly quicker than running and stuff like that. But then sometimes they did Zelda Link Between Worlds. And so at the start, you get the sword and you have to deliver it. And he's like, right, we're not going to do that. We're going to go up to the mountain at the top, Death Mountain. And we're going to get this bird to knock us over some rocks that we're not supposed to be able to get past. And then that lets us skip loads of the game. And and it's just really funny seeing them break the games in all these weird ways just to save some time.
Oh man, I'd love to see someone do a proper speed run of Dark Souls.
Oh yeah, someone did Demon Souls last night.
I know. I mean, I'm joking. Everyone does speed runs of Dark Souls. That was the joke.
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm just very excited about speed runs all of a sudden. Someone did Demon Souls, which is really interesting again because I sort of have like only the vaguest memories of that game. So yeah, fascinating to see someone just piling through
it. So what games do you want to see done right?
Skate 3.
What was that?
Skate 3.
Let's leave it at that. Next question.
Okay, summer's here, so if you could visit a theme park based on a computer game, which game would you choose?
Demon Souls.
Banjo-Kazooie. A theme park based on Banjo-Kazooie would be my ultimate fantasy.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Snake.
Sexual or otherwise.
Snake
on the 3210.
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
Why has that tickled me so much? Just dropping the Nokia name in there, just done it. James, any answer to this one?
No, can't think of anything else.
Okay, let's do one more. Let's do one more because we're lagging and we need to get to this spoiler cast. Right.
All right. Okay. After being quite impressed with the show at E3, I've picked up an Xbox One. How likely am I to get a game of Titanfall?
Very likely.
I think very likely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I put it on, and there's still people playing it. I mean, the pool is a lot smaller, and you won't get the choice of game modes anymore. Everyone's just playing attrition now, which is a shame because there are some cracking game modes there, but it's still worth picking up because it's like £4, and it's free if you've got EA access. So definitely play it; it's really good. I think all the DLC's free as well on that.
Super Mario 83 asks, just checking if anyone's asked the HD remake question yet. Yes, they have. Super Mario 83. They snuck it in.
There we go. Right. Do you want to do the social media stuff, Matt?
We're on Twitter. We're at Computer Game Pod. We're on Facebook.com/Computer Game Show. And we're on YouTube. All the episodes are now up to date. Every new episode goes up on there on the Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how quick it can get done. But all our shows will be up on there. So go to youtube.com, search for The Computer Game Show, or just go to youtube.com/The Computer Game Show. And that's it.
Good. And leave us iTunes reviews. Let people know that we exist because it really helps us out. And thanks for living it. We'll see you next week. Or if you've finished Inside, we'll see you after the music that I'm about to play. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
welcome back. If you've not played Inside all the way through, please turn off now. There will be no more warnings. We are going to spoil the fuck out of this game. And if you think, oh, I haven't got an Xbox or a PC to play it, still turn off. You can come back to this later. You've had enough show. Go away. Because we're not going to explain things that we're saying. We're assuming that everyone listening now has finished Inside. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
James Farley.
Hey.
And Sean Bell.
Goodbye.
Right, so then... Inside, I think possibly this isn't the sort of game. When we've done spoiler cast before, we've gone through the game bit by bit. I don't think that's going to work on this one. I think I want to jump straight in with your theories on what it's all about, and then that can lead into the bits that we liked and stuff like that.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I want to start with James. I want to know what your theory is behind what it's about.
Well, the thing is I don't really have a theory as to what it's about. I just think, like the end, obviously there's the blob,
Yeah.
And I think for me it's pretty obvious that the blob's been controlling you from the beginning, yeah?
That's my theory. Well, I had, I'll let you talk. Sorry.
Because that's really what I mostly got from it, is that you are the blob, or you're an extension of the blob.
Mm.
But you are, but those other things, like the other humans that are like there are not. They're like just shells.
Yeah, I mean, right, okay. Let me tell you my theory, because I think it runs on the same theme. At first I thought what was going to happen was you were going to find out that you were being mind controlled from the start. But in a really obvious way, like you'll go into a room and someone would be wearing the helmet and stuff like that. But then it didn't happen, and you held that whole escape theme, and that's why at the end I was kind of like, what? This is not what I thought was going to happen. This is really odd. Here's my theory. You are being manipulated. The whole game's about manipulation. That's the main theme, right? So you're manipulating these shell of humans, like they could be corpses. That's what I got from that they were dead people that you were reanimating, and you were there's that whole stuff about manipulating animals to do what they. So to get over that, would you remember when you had to break the panels off of the wall while those dogs were running either side of that wall, either side of the fence, and you had to jump over? Yeah, it's a great puzzle. But it's all about manipulation. In fact, the whole game, pretty much everything you're doing is manipulating something or someone, or something like that. Then I think the whole theme behind that is, although people that manipulate are usually being manipulated. So this boy is manipulating things as he goes through this game, but the whole idea is that he is being manipulated, and he's being manipulated by that blob at the end, by the monster thing at the end, that's using him to get to him to gain enough power to escape. Right? That's what I think is happening. Now, the problem is, every time I've gone down a run of theory of ideas, it hasn't worked out. The one thing that the sort of piece of the puzzle that's missing at the moment is why that boy. What's important about it being that boy? If this place is full of scientists and full of these empty shells, why not use them to gain power from to escape? And at what point is that boy manipulated? Now, at first, I thought, well, it's definitely the bit where he dies, when the sort of mermaid creature drags you down, which I was thinking that those mermaid things in the sea were being manipulated by the blob to catch things to feed to it. Do you know what I mean? So from that point there, the kid died, he was reanimated through the blob, and then the blob sort of brings it in to him to gain power. But there are a few things that don't work with that. For example, you have to kind of break the blob apart. Like, you have to sort of free the blob before you can enter it. Now, that would imply that it was caught in the current state and that it wasn't gaining power as it was going on. The other thing that ruins that theory is that there's a hidden ending. And you've seen this, Matt, but you haven't, James, right?
Mm.
So in the hidden ending, the cornfield that you walk through, there's a hatch. You go down. You find.
I actually discovered that hatch. Like, and that's one of the first things I found.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. I just assumed at the time it was one of those hidden orb things that you explode. But the idea is that you've got to find all those hidden orbs before you can go, like, before you can do what you need to do down there. So you go down there, and then in the distance you can see one of those mind control devices and a switch. And if you turn the switch off, the mind control device turns off, and the little boy falls down and collapses like those the corpses do throughout the game. So that implies that you are...
that would really imply that he was being controlled right from the beginning.
Exactly. So my theory of this blob using things to come towards it to gain power from doesn't really work, because why would he use this boy that's way, way out in the distance, in this forest, and not the amount of humans that are around him? Do you know what I mean?
See, the other thing about that, because I remember right at the beginning of the game, it kind of gives the impression that you've escaped, and that these other people have been caught and are being rounded up. But then
I had a theory about that as well.
But then, I was thinking about that earlier. I was just thinking maybe they're not being rounded up. They're just useful bodies that have just been moved around the facility, to do stuff.
Because basically, like, it ends and you're in the forest, and it begins in the forest. And I'm thinking, did this kid escape from the factory? Did he escape from the lab, and then that blob's just bringing him back? Is it because it sort of begins and ends in a similar location? I just thought there must be a connection between that.
Yeah, but why would it want to escape if that was the case?
I'm not sure. I just thought that. I just felt like that kid had been there before in some way, and he was just it's just getting brought back to base, as it were. I don't know. I just felt because there's a connection, because it's like the forest was at the beginning and the end.
Yeah, because I thought
the end's not really a forest, though, is it? It's like
you fall down into trees and stuff, and then you sort of it ends by the bank of the river. But
at first, I thought it was going to be a time loop thing, where you realise that you've just entered the game in the middle of a time loop that's been going over and over. But I don't think that works. There's not enough evidence to suggest that. When you get to the facility, everyone looks shocked that this blob's doing what it's doing, and the facility's in pristine condition, where you absolutely smash it up when you're in the blob.
Yeah.
So I still think there's far too many pieces of the puzzle missing for my theory to work, but it's the closest to a solid theory that I've got. There's a few things that I batted around, like maybe that thing in the water was his sister and he was trying to save it, but that doesn't really work. I don't understand why sometimes the thing in the water kills you instantly, and sometimes it actually it does that thing where it sort of plugs something into you and stuff like that.
I think that thing. That thing I think was trying to help you throughout the whole thing. It's just that you don't realise that, because as soon as you get the extra ability where you can breathe underwater and all that kind of stuff, never bothers you again. And it's like the whole time it was trying to get you to to get to that point, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So maybe it's not helping you. Maybe it's trying to capture you, and at that point, it's captured you. At that point, it's got you, locked into the task of freeing the blob. It's strange. It's frustrating, because I feel that there's something so obvious missing that I'm not seeing to put a solid theory of what this game's about.
The other thing I thought was interesting is how towards the end when you're escaping as the blob, and it's like the people all generally are kind of helping you as well.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're opening doors and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah. Whether that's because they're scared, obviously, because it's a
that's what it implies when that guy was quivering behind that block.
Yeah, but then there's other bits. There's that bit where you have to chuck up the block onto the
which is such a genius moment. And I only caught that because of the animation. As I said in the main show, the animation in this is fantastic, and that's an example of where it works really well, because you can see him sort of saying, "I want to help you," pointing at things and trying to give you a hint to certain things. That was so well done. But also the when you fall in line with the animated corpses.
That was such a brilliant moment.
It was beautifully done, because the boy falls down and he looks behind him, he looks in front of him, and he drops his shoulders to match. And then you instantly, as a player, go, "Oh, I get it. Like, I understand what the game wants me to do. It wants me to copy what's going on around me." It's just so well done. Like, that stuff blew me away. That could be my favourite moment in the game, that bit. And they showed it off at E3 2 years ago, and I just kind of think, fuck, I'm so glad I didn't see that.
One of my favourite moments was when you were, and there's something else I want to discuss, but it's the bit where you're going through what looks like sort of the nuclear test facility area, with all the explosions, and the bit where you are you sort of making sure you're covered before the explosion goes off, and then there's that big rotating thing which you have to sort of stop at the bottom of the ladder so you can run around it. I thought that was such a great moment. But what do you guys think? How that relates? It felt like they were testing a weapon. They had like those dummies sat down at desks, and they were clearly testing a weapon or blowing things up, or whatever. So what do you think? How do you think that is related? Do you think it
was nuclear? Because I didn't think it was. I thought it was.
No, I thought it was like, it sounded like sonic booms, wasn't it?
That's what it sounded like to me.
Well, I don't know. It just felt like they're obviously testing what felt like a huge weapon of sorts. I mean, how do you think that plays into it? Do you think they're trying to harness that energy to power the blob? I don't know.
Aside from that, though, do you think there's a connection here with Limbo? Because there is something like, because I was going back like before I played this. I looked at a couple of videos of Limbo because it's been a long time since I last played it, and there, do you remember there's those things that like get into your head, that they sort of like burrow into your head, and sort of control you. Yeah, they were in this because they controlled those pigs.
The pigs, yeah.
And it's like, is there a link here, between these two games?
I don't think there is. I mean, there are some weird similarities in this. As I said again on the show. You start off as a boy in a forest, and that is... I don't know if that was a gentle nod or implying something. I think it was more of a gentle nod than anything else. Oh man, fuck. I think maybe we should move on from theories now, because I don't think anyone's got a solid one, and I don't think anyone's got any answers yet. I haven't read too much. I've tried to avoid it. But I've read a couple of things and I don't really agree with some of the stuff they're saying. But I'm sure it will come out eventually.
Yeah, when I finished the game, I thought one of the things I'm looking forward to most is hearing other people's opinions on other podcasts, reading pieces about how they think the game went down. I'm definitely going to replay it. I think I'll replay it this week. I want to get the rest of the secrets, and I just want to experience it again. There's so many clever moments.
Does it have like collectible stuff then, like Limbo did? Because I didn't find anything.
There are things like 13 like secret. Did you not find any little secret things? The little like.
I don't think so.
Things you crack open.
Oh wow!
Okay. I think I got four of them maybe. But,
I got 2.
Okay.
But I found one, but I was so stupid. Those hatches on the floor. I went up to them and was like, this one's locked. I can't get into it. This is silly. And it wasn't until later on in the game that I realised that obviously you can't lift up the hatch when you're standing on it. You have to stand to the side and lift it up. And I was like, oh, fuck. That hatch back there, I could have opened it. I was just being dumb. But yeah, so, I mean, what are the puzzles that stuck out for you the most, Matt?
So, I mean, I must say, the one I got stuck on the most was probably the first puzzle. Mostly because it's one where you have to use the blower to blow the bale of hay off the beam, and I knew that there's little chick things were following you, but I'd already discovered the hatch in the cornfield, so I kept going back there thinking maybe I had to pick up something from the hatch, or maybe there was something else in the cornfield I hadn't quite found. But then obviously I realised I just had to be a couple of paces in front of the chicks, and then quickly use the switch to suck all the chicks into the machine and use them to blow out the bale of hay. I love that. I love the one I just mentioned about the big rotating thing that blocks you from the explosions. I thought that was really, really well done. I also loved the one where It's one of the water ones. Where you've got a block and you can turn the water, so the water's like, you know, at the top of the room or the bottom of the room. Do you know what I mean? It's fairly late on.
And then you sort of got to drag it over to that bit with the ladder.
Yeah. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, that was clever.
There are probably loads of
and again, it was all those puzzles were just pure. Oh yeah, of course, that's the solution. What am I doing?
I also love the one we had to get like 19 of those corpses to. You know, to turn the button on to open the lift.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
A lot of that works with. I like the stuff of where you had to drag the one that you couldn't animate down, and also the first time you realise that you can put one of those corpses in a one of those brain helmets or whatever you call it, and then control the third one. That was pretty. That was a pretty special moment.
That was my favourite, was that, because then that took me a while to figure that out, and then I was like, wow, that's like a thing. But also, I mean, just simple stuff. Like I liked at the end, you know, when you're like escaping, and you have to like, you know, you open that furnace, and then you like chuck the block in.
Oh, that was so good.
And then you're like running back, and then like having to chuck it over the those
pipes,
sprinklers.
Yeah.
That was, and it just looked like, again, the animation was just brilliant.
And what that did is that totally showed off how good the controls are in that game, because I just felt so natural to chuck it over and catch it. It didn't take loads of attempts.
Yeah,
it didn't feel like some
mechanic.
No, it didn't feel like some sort of puzzle-based system.
It didn't need a
physics-based
arrow,
system.
like a golf arrow, which another game might have done. It was just, you knew what angle to do it, you knew how it worked. After the first time I'd run through the sprinkler, and my box was put out, the second time I did it, straight away.
Yeah, same here.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it didn't need to be frustrating. It didn't need to be like you didn't feel like you were aiming or that you just missed it, like because the physics were slightly off that time. It was just that really highlighted how good the controls are in this.
How shocked were you both when you started controlling that blob? Because I'll be honest, when it happened, I had a massive smile on my face when that happened because I was just like, "What is going on?"
I wasn't shocked. I was just kind of. That whole end part of that game just weirded me out.
Yeah,
I was kind of
went
like,
really,
this
really
is not...
weird, really, really quickly.
Yeah,
which is why I thought it was brilliant. I was just like, "This is amazing."
It made me think of Akira for some reason.
That works.
Yeah, I suppose because he just grew up into a blob. But my favourite bit when you were controlling the blob is when you run into that guy that's by the window, and then just splatter him as you land.
Yeah.
It's like
it was just really satisfying smashing through each of the glass windows. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the only guy that you kill though, isn't it? I don't think there's anybody else that dies.
Do you kill anyone else? Probably not. But speaking of guys and killing, I'm really interested in the white mask guys. Like, if the only reason, going back to the theories and stuff, the only thing that works out in my head is that they know that the blob is manipulating people to power it up. So they have to end that. But then killing them wouldn't change it, I guess, because you manipulate the dead anyway. So, but then that makes me think, but are those things that you're manipulating actually dead? Or are they just under some sort of mind control thing?
I didn't think they were dead. I don't know what they were, but I didn't think they were, I don't know, I didn't think they were dead at all. I just thought they were, I guess it felt like they were being controlled, mind controlled.
Here's the other thing that confuses the theory. If you're being mind controlled, and some of the things that you were controlling, how comes they were basically invincible, and you weren't? Do you know what I mean? Like it's different.
I just thought it was a different kind of organic matter or something. The boy is. That's why you could also gain extra abilities. It's because of that. It's just a different part of whatever the experiment is what I thought.
That's too much of a cop out for me to take seriously.
But what about? Do you remember that other? See, the other thing that I keep remembering now is that there's those bits, when you see things that are going on in the background, and there's that bloke standing there with a child next to him.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
When he's walking in, into
and you have to hide behind a crate.
And it happens like about 2 or 3 times through the game. Like you see this child like with this bloke, but you obviously not explain nothing. So yeah, I just wonder what that was about. No idea.
There's got to be a link between the boy and the blob. There's got to be. There's got to be a link there.
Obviously, there's quite a lot of things in the background where you see like people being herded into vans. I mean, are those just regular people, and they're being taken to the laboratory to be turned into these these sort of mind-controlled people? And if that's the case, why would they want to kill you at the beginning? Or I guess whenever you see the guys, they're trying to chase you and shoot you and kill you.
That's what I'm saying. The only explanation I've got for those people in white faces actually murdering you is that they know you're being controlled. Somehow they know you're being controlled, and that's the only way to stop you. So then that makes me think maybe those things aren't dead that you're controlling. But if not, what are they? And why are they being controlled? Maybe the whole idea behind it is that it's some sort of military thing. Maybe
that's what I thought.
Yeah,
they're training
definitely have
new weapons.
Yeah,
because then that would play into the whole themes of manipulation that it goes for, and the weapons that you were talking about. And let's face it, a lot of scientists working on a weapon would make sense. Huh.
Yeah. I just felt like the last environment of where you go through those huge sort of glass viewing galleries essentially. So I just imagine what scientists and stuff watching someone in that clear perspex box doing whatever it's doing. I presume what these are like maybe that's when they're testing the animated corpses or animating the people who've been controlled by their minds. I don't know. I just thought I loved all that scenery. I loved all those locations.
See, that was the other bit. Just before you become the blob, like when you go running in and they're all standing watching it.
Yeah.
Like at the thing. And I just went and stood like next to them and they look at you, but they don't do anything to you anymore.
Yeah, I did that as well.
And it's just,
that is a crazy moment, isn't it? Like that was such a beautiful moment because for that whole part of the game, like a huge portion of the game, anything that's human is out to kill you or grab you or whatever. And all of a sudden that's not the case anymore because they got more important things to do, or maybe that they're just not part of the security side of things. They're more just the scientists and the people that are working on something there. So, yeah, weird. It is totally weird.
Dude, just before that, I had a really good moment. I think it's just literally like, 10 seconds before you get to that viewing gallery, I was like running through and you see like all the empty glass boxes of all the chairs. Some chairs are knocked over. And as I was running, there's another guy running as well. And I was like, if I run past him, is he going to like shoot me? But then I sort of slowed down and then I sped up to run alongside him. And he was also just running to the viewing gallery, which I thought that was a really great moment as well.
It's full of moments like that, full of real surprises that you wouldn't expect from it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play it again to see if I discover anything new, and I'm really looking forward to hearing other people's views and opinions on the theories of what the game's about.
Did Playdead explain anything about what Limbo was?
No.
Then they're probably not going to be this, are they?
No, you've heard the main theory about it being about a car crash, right?
Yeah.
And that totally makes sense. And I think we will see theories that make a lot more sense than what we're driving at here in the coming weeks, especially when more intelligent people like Sean play it. Because let's face it, he's the most intelligent out of all of us. But I'd love to know what his theory is. I'm going to tell him tonight, actually, before you do anything, before you look anything up. I'm just dying to hear what he thinks is going on. Because, he might pick up something that I've totally missed. Huh.
Yeah, so do you think you're going to play it again, James? You are, aren't you?
I think I will, yeah. I mean, it's definitely the best thing I've played on Xbox One anyway, which also made me kind of sad, like I said on the show, because it's just like, why is there not more stuff like this, like on there? Because it's amazing.
Good. Well,
that's probably. I wish I could articulate my thoughts and feelings a bit better, but it's just a stunning game.
Yeah, and it's not been far from my mind for the past, ever since completing it a couple of nights ago.
I didn't really want to say it on the non-spoiler bit, but I was also really happy about it only being about 4 hours or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the length felt about right.
But I didn't think I was right to spoil that, just in case people had different expectations. But yeah, 4 hours. I didn't do it in one sitting. How about you guys? Did you?
I did it in
a
two.
bit at a time. I did it like a bit at a time over Saturday. Just
brilliant.
played for half an
Yeah.
hour, then a bit more. And,
Yeah, I had to stop on the first night, but it's just a stunning game, and
I
definitely
felt
get back.
that it could have been longer.
Well,
But
what I love about it is that it had loads of great ideas, and much like a great Mario game, it dumped them as quick as you sort of learn them, and it went on to something else. There's no chaff. It just went to different
that's
things.
it.
I love
If-
that.
Although, saying that, I was starting to get a bit tired of the swimming bits. Like
the submarine or the swimming bits?
Well, just the water in general, because I know water plays like a massive part in the game, and in fact, actually, that's one of the other things that I really liked about it to a degree. Was did you feel uncomfortable playing it, like from the fact that you just
totally.
think he's wet all the time, and
Oh,
just thought
no.
like, he must be cold, and just I don't know, I had that feeling.
I
But
love
no-
the fact that when you were wet, like it went almost totally completely black and white, and then your clothes eventually went more. Yeah, as they dried out, they went red again, or a dark shade of red.
But I think it was just, I think maybe the submarine bit, it just felt like it started to drag a little bit. But I mean, not so that I wasn't enjoying it, but just like, oh, okay, I'll be quite pleased when I get to like run and jump again.
I think that was just more at that stage of the game. I was dying to find out. I was getting so curious that by that bit I was kind of like, no, I just want to get to the next bit now. But I understand what you're saying totally. Weird. Okay. Well, then maybe we should park this until we know a little bit more. I'm sure it will come up again at some point, especially after Sean's played it.
Absolutely.
And how do we do this? Sean doesn't check the emails, so if you've got your own theory that you want to submit, send us an email at thecomputergameshow@gmail.com, because I'd love to read them and see what you think. We won't read them out on the show, but we might respond to you and stuff. So yeah,
Or
email
I
us
could
with
see us
what
maybe
you
doing
think
like
the
another
game's like.
mini spoiler cast after Sean plays
Yeah,
it next week.
absolutely. Once Sean does it, I'm up for talking about it some more after the music next time.
And I might have played it a second time by now.
Yeah, same here. Interesting. All right then. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week, and I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for living it.
Bye again.
Yeah, bye bye.